Chapter 53-64. Man Kuang was fighting the Sky Serpent Emperor and the Flying Tiger Emperor in the Minor Void Cave. This battle was somewhat tragic. After the three figures desperately attacked each other, they were all sent flying. Blood spilled in the air, and the smell of blood immediately filled the air. Man Kuang was fighting two enemies at the same time. As he retreated, he kept coughing up blood. The clothes on his upper body were torn and hung on his body like rags. His chest was stained with blood. The Sky Serpent Emperor and the Flying Tiger Emperor did not have the upper hand even though they had joined forces. Especially the Sky Serpent Emperor. His arms were twisted and deformed by the rebounding force. It was obvious that his arms had been broken. The Flying Tiger Emperor's claws were covered in blood as well. Both sides are injured. Ji Fei, who was watching from the side, couldn't help but frown when he saw this. With Man Kuang's cultivation, he actually couldn't defeat the mysterious Snake Emperor and the Flying Tiger Emperor. It's still too early. The Sorcerer Emperor said calmly. How could Ji Fei not tell? Again, Man Kuang roared as he charged toward the mysterious Serpent Sovereign and the Flying Tiger Sovereign. His aura was like a rainbow, and his battle intent was shocking. You lunatic! The Sky Serpent Emperor was both shocked and angry. Run! The Flying Tiger Emperor was very direct. There was only one word for him, and that was run. The Sky Serpent Emperor and the Flying Tiger Emperor turned and ran. They did not want to fight a lunatic. The Sky Serpent Emperor and the Flying Tiger Emperor charged at Ji Fei and the Sorcerer Emperor. They saw their master, the Nine-Tailed Fox Emperor, standing beside Ji Fei. The Nine-Tailed Fox Emperor was the master of the Sky Serpent Emperor and the Flying Tiger Emperor. Where do you think you're going? Man Kuang roared and chased after them. The three experts were all transcendent emperors. Their movement techniques were extremely fast. In just a breath's time, the Sky Serpent Emperor and the Flying Tiger Emperor had arrived before the Nine-Tailed Fox Emperor and bowed respectfully. Die! Man Kuang charged at them fiercely. All right, that's enough. The Sorcerer Emperor said coldly. The mysterious Snake Emperor and the Flying Tiger Emperor looked at the Sorcerer Emperor in shock. This is your new master. The Nine-Tailed Fox Emperor said to the mysterious Snake Emperor and the Flying Tiger Emperor. At the same time, the Nine-Tailed Fox Emperor waved his right hand and Man Kuang was sent flying away, disappearing without a trace. The Sky Serpent Ruler and the Flying Tiger Ruler were utterly shocked. New master. The Sky Serpent Emperor and the Flying Tiger Emperor were dumbfounded. Aren't you going to greet your master? The Nine-Tailed Fox Emperor said coldly. Greetings, master. The mysterious Snake Emperor and the Flying Tiger Emperor hurriedly bowed to the Witch Emperor. Get up. The Witch Emperor said. Thank you, master. Only then did the mysterious Snake Emperor and the Flying Tiger Emperor dare to stand up. At this time, Man Kuang charged over. Impudent. With a single thought from Ji Fei, Man Kuang, who was charging towards Ji Fei, felt as if he had hit a transparent wall. His entire body fell into the void, and then he slid down from the sky. Just like that. Looking at this, the mysterious Snake Emperor and the Flying Tiger Emperor were stunned. Man Kuang was an existence that was even stronger than them. To think that this human could defeat him without even lifting a finger. This cultivation state was way too horrifying. Master. After a long while, Man Kuang finally caught his breath and came before Ji Fei. That's enough to vent out your anger. Ji Fei said to Man Kuang. Yes, master. Man Kuang replied carefully. Right now, Man Kuang did not dare to act insolently in front of Ji Fei. It was only now that he knew how scary this new master of his was. With just a single thought, Ji Fei had Man Kuang in such a pathetic state. If they were to fight, Man Kuang would definitely be killed instantly. Man Kuang, I'm your master. From now on, you'll just follow me. Ji Fei said to Man Kuang. Yes, master. Man Kuang replied hurriedly. There's nothing more to see here. Let's head out. With that, Ji Fei dashed towards the exit of the Minor Void Paradise. Man Kuang was stunned for a moment before he chased after Lin Fan. The Witch Emperor brought her pets and subordinates towards the exit as well. Ji Fei could sense that the closer he got to the exit of the Minor Void Paradise, the more his infinite prime cultivation base was suppressed by the laws of the void world. As long as he left the minor void paradise, his cultivation base would be suppressed. This was definitely not a good thing for Ji Yufei. However, they couldn't just stay here for the rest of their lives. Everything in the minor void paradise could be sensed by Ji Yufei's soul psyche. However, there was nothing in the minor void paradise that could attract his attention. In fact, Ji Yufei even wanted to take away all the puppets in the Black Hall's plaza. However, these puppets couldn't leave the Black Hall at all. This made Ji Yufei extremely depressed. There was only one way to take the puppets out of the Black Hall, and that was to completely refine the Black Hall. However, if he could refine the Black Hall, the minor void paradise would belong to him. Although Ji Yufei really wanted to take the puppets out of the Black Hall, he would have an army of transcendent Emperor Realm cultivators. Such a force was enough to sweep through the entire void world. Ji Yufei didn't want to waste time refining the Black Hall now, because refining the Black Hall wasn't something that could be done in a short period of time. Right now, they needed to find the Copper Gate of Heaven and Earth. Ji Yufei really wanted to know if the Copper Gate of Heaven and Earth was really connected to another world. After they got out of the valley, they started a bonfire next to the pool. After eating and drinking their fill, Ji Yufei and the rest prepared to leave the valley. Ji Yufei found out from the nine-tailed fox emperor that the valley was less than 1,000 miles away from the Heaven and Earth Gate. This distance wasn't considered far for Li Kuang. What about the snow demon outside? The sorcerer emperor raised his head and looked at Ji Yufei, who was still eating, speechless. What else can we do? Ji Yufei said indifferently. We have so many people, why can't we handle a snow demon? The sky serpent emperor said coldly. That's right, we'll kill her if she dares to show herself. The flying tiger emperor nodded. Meanwhile, it was quiet outside the valley. No one knew where the snow demon was hiding, but everyone knew that they would be ambushed by the snow demon if they dared to step out of the valley. Moreover, Ji Yufei's cultivation was being suppressed by the laws of heaven and earth. Very well, the three of you will be the vanguard. Ji Yufei suddenly said. What? This? Man Kuang and the rest were dumbfounded. Do you have a problem with that? Ji Yufei glanced at the Sky Serpent Emperor and said calmly. No, why would I have a problem with that? The Sky Serpent Emperor hurriedly shook his head. Then what are you waiting for? What are you waiting for? Chapter 5365. The Sky Serpent Emperor, Flying Tiger Emperor, and Man Kuang were extremely depressed. Ji Yufei actually wanted them to be the vanguard to deal with the snow demon. Although the snow demon was only a half-step transcendent emperor, she was still a snow demon. As long as there was snow, she would be able to attract endless energy. As long as there was snow, she would not die. Although they were all transcendent emperors, the snow demon was an existence that could not be killed. Wasn't it suicide to deal with such a person? They had all suffered at the hands of the snow demon and knew how powerful it was. But since Ji Yufei wanted them to be the vanguard, how could they dare to refuse? Man Kuang and the others could only bite the bullet. Do you think they can deal with the snow demon? The shaman emperor asked Ji Yufei. How would I know? Ji Yufei shrugged. They will be dealt with miserably. The nine-tailed fox emperor said solemnly. Is that so? Ji Yufei looked at the nine-tailed fox emperor. You'll know soon. They will be back in an hour at most. The nine-tailed fox emperor said indifferently. An hour? Even Ji Yufei was surprised. Man Kuang and the others could only last an hour against the snow demon. Half an hour passed by quickly. As expected, Man Kuang and the others were back. When Ji Yufei saw them, he was startled. These three fellows had been beaten up miserably. Man Kuang originally had a head full of wild hair, but now he looked like a madman. But now, he had become bald. His incomparably eye-catching messy hair had all disappeared, but his full beard was still there. The Sky Serpent Emperor was covered in blood. When he took human form, he also had a tail. But now, his snake tail was gone, cut off by someone. The Flying Tiger Emperor was in a worse state. His head was almost separated from his body, and the king character on his forehead was dug out. He was drenched in blood, and one of his legs was crippled. As expected, he was dealt with miserably. The shaman emperor said. Master, barbarian emperor and the others wanted to cry. That snow demon was truly too detestable. Although the snow demon was only a half-step transcendent emperor, she was the ruler of the snowy mountains. Therefore, Man Kuang and the others were unlucky when they entered the snowy lands. Not bad this time. Outside the valley, on a mountain peak, stood a woman in white. Although she was just standing there quietly, it was as if she had become one with the world around her. She was like a fairy in a snowy mountain. She had just taught those 3 guys a lesson. She hadn't played like this in a long time. Man Kuang and the others were transcendent emperor realm existences. The snow demon couldn't kill them, but it could torture the 3 of them. After having enough fun, the snow demon let Man Kuang and the others go. The snow demon's target was the 9-tailed demon fox emperor. As long as the 9-tailed demon fox emperor was taken care of, how could these fellows escape? What happened to the 2 humans? Could it have been killed by that little fox? The snow demon muttered to itself. Did I forget to ask those 3 guys? The snow demon was speechless. She had only thought of playing. At this time, she remembered the humans who had entered the valley. At this time, in the valley, Ji Fei threw 3 healing pellets to Man Kuang and the others. After Man Kuang and the others ate the pellets, their injuries healed at a speed visible to the naked eye. This shocked the shaman emperor and the 9-tailed demon fox emperor. What kind of pellet is this? The shaman emperor asked. It's a healing pellet. What else could it be? Ji Fei said calmly. The shaman emperor and the 9-tailed demon fox emperor were speechless. How could they not know that it was a healing pellet? They wanted to know the name and origin of the pellet. The Void Realm was actually a very special world. This was because there were humans and demons from the Limitless Realm who had accidentally fallen into the Void Realm. Therefore, although the cultivation system here wasn't perfect, there were many Emperor Realm existences here. There were people who concocted pellets in the Mirage as well. However, the Pill Dao here wasn't very advanced. It was at most an intermediate Pill Dao. Therefore, the pellets concocted by the alchemists here wouldn't be of much use to Emperor Realm experts, let alone transcendent Emperor Realm experts. However, Ji Fei's medicinal pills were able to heal the injuries of Man Kuang and the others at a speed visible to the naked eye. Such a medicinal pill was something that even shaman emperors had never seen or heard of. Can you give me some of these pellets? The shaman emperor couldn't hold it in any longer. I want some. Ji Fei smiled. Of course. The shaman emperor's tone was still cold. Beg me. Ji Fei said proudly. The shaman emperor glared at Ji Fei and didn't say anything. She seemed to be angry. All right, if you want it, I will definitely give it to you. Ji Fei said as he took out a small jade bottle and handed it to the shaman emperor. The shaman emperor took the small jade bottle and pulled out the stopper. A faint medicinal fragrance immediately permeated the air. Just the smell alone was enough to invigorate one's entire being. Good stuff. The shaman emperor's eyes lit up. Rumble. Just as the shaman emperor put away the small jade bottle and was about to say something, the entire valley suddenly shook. Countless rocks rolled down from the cliffs around the valley. There was also a lot of snow among the rocks. What's going on? Everyone in the valley was shocked. Is the snow demon coming in? Man Kuang was quite frightened. Even someone as fearless as him was so frightened that his expression changed. One could imagine how badly he had been taught a lesson by the snow demon. Countless ice and snow fell in the valley, and a figure actually stood up from the snow. A woman in white looked at them from afar. Snow demon, Man Kuang, the mysterious snake emperor, and the flying tiger emperor immediately hid behind Ji Fei and the others when they saw the figure. How can it be? How can she come in? The 9-tailed fox emperor was also shocked. She had fought with the snow demon for countless years, but the snow demon had never entered this valley. But now, this snow demon had actually entered the valley. She doesn't dare to leave the place with snow. The 9-tailed fox emperor said. Is that so? A wave of spiritual will came from the figure on the snow. Rumble, the valley shook again. Outside the entrance of the valley, countless figures rushed in. They were snowmen formed from ice and snow. They were not living beings with flesh and blood. Countless snowmen rushed in from outside the valley like a white flood, and an extremely powerful wave of energy spread out. Seeing this scene, Man Kuang and the others were stunned. I only thought of this method now. I'm really stupid. The snow demon mocked herself. You. Chapter 5366. Countless snowmen rushed in from outside the valley. They were like a white torrent, unstoppable. Moreover, when the snowmen rushed in, they brought with them a blizzard. The blizzard spread throughout the valley, and the entire valley was covered in snowflakes. For countless years, it had never snowed in the valley. Although it wasn't really snowing, it was close enough. This was a strange sight in the valley. Preposterous. The nine-tailed fox emperor was infuriated. This was her territory, and for countless years, the snow demons had never dared to attack here. But now, this snow demon actually dared to attack here. It must have eaten a bear's heart and a leopard's gall. Boom. The instant the nine-tailed fox emperor thought so, the valley shook, and countless sharp stone pillars suddenly rushed out of the ground. Countless snowmen that rushed into the valley were immediately pierced by the stone pillars, and then turned into countless pieces of ice and snow. The snowman army formed from ice and snow was immediately stopped. However, the stone pillars that emerged from the ground only stopped the snowmen for a few breaths of time. The snowmen passed through the stone pillars and continued to rush towards Jiu Fei and the others. Moreover, Jiu Fei also realized that the ice and snow scattered on the ground were quickly reassembling. In just a few breaths of time, they had reformed into a snowman. The number of snowmen was still increasing. Rumble, at this time, the top of the valley shook violently, and the entire sky suddenly darkened. Countless pieces of ice and snow gathered above the valley from all directions. When Man Kuang and the others saw this scene, they were frightened quite a bit. Interesting. Jiu Fei looked up into the sky. The ice and snow in the sky had gathered to form a huge snow mountain. Was this snow demon trying to bury the entire valley with ice and snow? Damn it. The nine-tailed fox emperor couldn't sit still any longer. She directly rushed into the sky, pouncing towards the snow mountain. However, within the snowstorm, blurry figures appeared one after another. These faint and incorporeal figures directly attacked the nine-tailed fox emperor. Get lost. The nine-tailed fox emperor bellowed. In the next moment, sharp blades of light shot out in all directions. Each blade of light accurately pierced through the phantoms that were pouncing over. After the phantoms were pierced by the light blades emitted by the nine-tailed i.e. demon emperor, they all dissipated in the void as if they had never appeared. Boom. The nine-tailed demon fox emperor slammed into the snowy mountain in the sky. Then, the entire snowy mountain above the valley instantly exploded. This was definitely an extremely shocking scene. The explosion of the snow mountain above the valley directly covered the entire valley with ice and snow. Countless ice and snow fell from the sky, falling into the valley. Man Kuang and the others were anxious because they knew that after the snow fell from the sky, the valley would be covered in ice and snow. This way, the snow demons would be able to come and go as they pleased. This was because the snow demon was very powerful. As long as there was ice and snow, it would be his territory. He could appear in every place that had ice and snow. At this time, the nine-tailed demon fox emperor, who had rushed into the sky, was fighting a figure in the sky. That was the snow demon. With the power of the snowy mountain, even if she was only a half-step transcendent emperor, she could still fight the nine-tailed demon fox emperor endlessly. In the entire culmination snow mountain, only this snow demon had the ability to challenge the nine-tailed demon fox emperor. If it had been anyone else, they would have long been killed by the nine-tailed demon fox emperor. The dull sound of Yuan Qi clashing resounded like muffled thunder, and the entire valley was still shaking. Boulders tumbled down from the cliffs around the valley. This was a battle between transcendent emperors. Man Kuang and the mysterious snake emperor couldn't interfere at all. One had to know that a transcendent emperor could kill an emperor realm expert as easily as crushing an ant. Man Kuang and the others would only be courting death if they went up. The snow demon's target was the nine-tailed demon fox emperor. She hadn't killed Man Kuang and the others, but she had abused them to the point that they were in a sorry state. The snow demon didn't have any killing intent. She wasn't here to kill. Was she just here to play? Ji Yufei was really curious. At this moment, countless snowmen had already rushed close. This white torrent was simply unstoppable. The Witch Emperor waved her right hand, and countless sword lights immediately rushed out from her hand. They were like raging waves that rushed towards the snowman army. Wherever the sword light passed, countless snowmen turned into ice and fell to the ground. The Witch Emperor's sword light turned into a sword net that blocked the countless snowmen. However, those snowmen still rushed forward wave after wave. Then, they were swept by the Witch Emperor's sword light and turned into ice and snow. Soon, a thick layer of ice and snow piled up on the ground. The ice and snow on the ground were actually moving, and new snowmen constantly stood up from the snow. These snowmen were simply endless. After being cut into pieces by the Witch Emperor's sword light, they would condense again. As long as there was ice and snow, the snowmen wouldn't be destroyed. There's another good show to watch. Ji Yufei didn't plan to make a move. This snow demon was very powerful. No wonder Man Kuang was so miserably abused by her. Moreover, this snow demon was only half-step transcendental emperor realm. Someone who can challenge those of a higher realm. Ji Yufei sighed. To Ji Yufei, challenging someone of a higher realm was a common occurrence. However, he had been in the void realm for so long, and this was the first time he had met someone of a higher cultivation realm. This snow demon wasn't simple. But so what if she wasn't simple? The situation is a bit strange. Man Kuang said. The nine-tailed fox emperor seemed to be unable to do anything to the snow demon. The snow demon wasn't very strong, but she had a special ability: she couldn't be killed. Being unable to be killed was the most terrifying thing. In the sky above the valley, the nine-tailed fox emperor attacked wildly. Countless light blades slashed at the surrounding phantoms. Those phantoms constantly dissipated in the void, but the phantoms that were scattered by the light blades immediately condensed again. Outrageous. Do you dare come out and fight? The nine-tailed fox emperor roared as she attacked. She was fighting so hard in the sky, but she was actually fighting with the phantoms of the snow demon. These weren't the snow demon's true body. TCH, aren't I fighting with you? A divine will appeared in the sky. You call this a fight? You cowardly rat. Chapter 53-67. On the culmination snow mountain, above the valley where the nine-tailed fox emperor lived, the nine-tailed fox emperor was fighting against the snow demon. Man Kuang and the others in the valley were terrified. Under the pressure of a transcendent emperor, even Man Kuang and the other emperor realm experts were trembling. Only Ji Yufei and the shaman emperor were fine. At this time, countless snowmen rushed in from outside the valley. This was simply an unstoppable snowman army. However, the shaman emperor blocked the flood of snowmen with his sword. A ball of sword light blocked in front of everyone. The snowmen that were rushing towards them were cut into pieces by the sword light, turning into ice and snow that scattered on the ground. At this moment, a thick layer of ice and snow had accumulated on the ground. However, the snowmen could not be destroyed. The ice and snow constantly formed snowmen and pounced towards the shaman emperor. It was like a moth flying into a flame. Sigh, your pet is really useless. It has been so long and it still can't deal with the snow demon. Ji Yufei sighed. Go and deal with the snow demon if you can. The shaman emperor was a little unhappy. Forget it, I can't deal with it either, unless. Ji Yufei wanted to say something but stopped. Unless what? The shaman emperor asked curiously. You know. Ji Yufei looked at the shaman emperor and smiled. How would I know? The shaman emperor rolled her eyes at Ji Yufei. Hihi, are you playing dumb? Ji Yufei looked at the shaman emperor. Why should I play dumb? The shaman emperor muttered. She seemed to have thought of something. Let's enter the minor void heaven, Ji Yufei said and walked towards the direction of the minor void heaven. Enter the minor void heaven? The shaman emperor suddenly understood. In the minor void heaven, Ji Yufei seemed to be invincible. The shaman emperor thought of the scene where Ji Yufei easily entered the Black Temple. As long as the snow demon dared to enter the minor void heaven, Ji Yufei could easily take it down. However, Luring the snow monster into the little void utopia was not an easy task. The snow monster was too cunning. She never fell for it. Everyone retreated into the little void paradise. Countless snowmen chased after him, but when they reached the pond outside the little void paradise, they stopped. These guys are afraid of water. Behind the waterfall, Jiu Fei was a little surprised to see this scene. Soon, the pond was filled with snowmen. These snowmen were formed from ice and snow and were controlled by the snow demon. When the ice and snow reach the water, it will melt. The sorcerer emperor suddenly said. I see. Jiu Fei sighed. However, under the control of the snow demon, countless snowmen suddenly soared into the sky and pounced towards the back of the waterfall. When the snowmen rushed into the waterfall, they fell directly into the pool below. The snowmen were like dumplings. As soon as they were touched by the water, they would fall. Soon, the pool was filled with snowmen. Jiu Fei discovered that the snowmen that fell into the pool were constantly melting, and soon a thick layer of ice formed on the surface of the pool. The snowmen that fell into the pool directly smashed into the ice and were smashed into pieces. However, the snow demon continued to order the snowmen to pounce towards the back of the waterfall. The frosty air from the snowmen spread out, and even the waterfall was gradually frozen. There was no water left. The snowmen rushed towards the back of the waterfall. Let's go. Jiu Fei entered the minor void paradise. The shaman emperor stood in front of the entrance of the minor void paradise, still using the same sharp sword light. Countless snowmen pounced towards him, but were all blocked. If the snowmen could not break through after a long time, the snow demon might personally make a move. This was Jiu Fei's plan. He wanted to trick the snow demon. His intuition told him that the snow demon was looking for the minor void paradise. Otherwise, why would it keep targeting the nine-tailed fox emperor? Why would it fight for so long? It's really here. When the snowmen reached the entrance of the minor void paradise, they became even more frenzied. They pounced forward with all their might, trying to break into the minor void paradise. It was impossible for these snowmen to break into the minor void paradise. However, at this moment, heavy footsteps sounded. Then, a group of tall figures walked out from behind the snowmen. What is this? Jiu Fei asked. Snowman emperors. When Man Kuang saw the three tall figures, he couldn't help but exclaim. The emperors of the snowmen? Jiu Fei said calmly. The snowmen charged towards the shaman emperor. An emperor realm cultivator against a transcendent emperor. This was suicide. The sorcerer emperor sliced the three snowman sovereigns in half with a single slash. Man Kuang and the others were dumbfounded by this scene. However, Jiu Fei was as calm as ever. He had killed 3 snowmen in one move. If they had not seen it with their own eyes, they would not have believed it. How could someone kill 3 emperors in one move? The 3 great snowman emperors had fallen. They were all ruthless characters, but now, they would never be able to walk out of this valley. Roar. Just as the 3 snowman emperors were killed, an angry roar came from outside. She's here, she's here. Jiu Fei reminded the shaman emperor. At this moment, the snowmen stopped attacking and retreated. A figure rushed in from the outside. It was a lady in white who was even colder than the shaman emperor. This lady in white was a true ice beauty, because she was the legendary snow demon. The snow demon had always been mysterious. There were legends about her on the culmination snow mountain, but very few had actually seen her in person. Ha ha! It's really here. The snow demon came in and was extremely excited when she saw the entrance to the minor void paradise. Why are you so excited? Jiu Fei was curious. Could there be something in the minor void paradise that he had not sensed? After entering the minor void paradise, Jiu Fei's cultivation had recovered. He immediately released his divine will and carefully sensed everything in the grotto heaven, including the black hall. However, he still could not sense anything special. Move aside, and I will spare your life. The snow demon stared at the shaman emperor guarding the entrance of the minor void paradise and shouted. What? The shaman emperor's eyes flashed with sharpness. This fella actually said that she would spare his life. How arrogant. Man Kuang and the others in the minor void paradise were also dumbfounded. This snow demon dared to speak to the shaman emperor like this. You're awesome. Even Jiyu Fei gave the snow demon a thumbs up. The shaman emperor was a genuine transcendent emperor realm expert. The snow demon was only a half-step emperor. Then let's see if you have the ability to spare my life. Chapter 5368. Snow demon finally attacked the valley where the nine-tailed fox emperor was. At this moment, the valley was already covered in a thick layer of ice and snow. In order to lure snow demon out, Jiyu Fei and the rest pretended that they couldn't withstand the snowman army's attack and retreated into the minor void paradise. Then, which emperor guarded the entrance of the minor void paradise? Which emperor's swordlight was like mercury, penetrating through every nook and cranny. All the snowmen that were charging towards her were cut down by her swordlight and turned into a pile of ice and snow. Even the 3 great snow emperors under the snow demon were slain by the shaman emperor. That was the snow emperor of the emperor realm. Just like that, she was slain by the shaman emperor. Jiyu Fei and the others were shocked by this. Which emperor's swordsmanship was really strong, but Jiyu Fei suddenly felt that it was somewhat similar to the limitless sword master. The limitless sword master was the highest existence that Jiyu Fei had ever seen in swordsmanship. Since ancient times, no one could surpass the limitless sword master in swordsmanship. But there was a problem with the limitless sword master's cultivation, and he turned into Yuxian and Ling Tian Palace Master. Could which emperor be related to the limitless sword master? Just as Jiyu Fei was pondering, Snow Demon came. She had come with boundless chill. After the Snow Demon entered the pool behind the waterfall, the entire void seemed to be frozen solid. Her entire body was exuding an astonishing chill. Everywhere she went, it was as if thousands of miles of ice were frozen. She could turn a region into a snowy region. Snow Demon and Witch Emperor were facing each other. You aren't even a transcendent emperor and you dare to be impudent in front of me? Witch Emperor held her divine sword and looked at Snow Demon arrogantly. She had to admit that Snow Demon was really beautiful. She was definitely one of the most beautiful women she had ever seen. This caused the Shaman Emperor to feel slightly jealous. I don't need the power of a transcendent emperor to kill you. Snow Demon laughed coldly. Is that so? Then I want to see what ability you have to kill me. Witch Emperor didn't waste any more words with Snow Demon. The divine sword in her hand instantly turned into a sword light and rushed out from her hand, slashing towards Snow Demon. His sword was as fast as lightning, extremely fast. However, the sword light pierced through the Snow Demon's body and a sword mark appeared on the Snow Demon's body. However, the sword wound on her body disappeared in an instant. The sword strike of the Shaman Emperor was actually unable to injure this fellow in the slightest. How is this possible? At this moment, the sword light that had flown out had already returned to the Shaman Emperor's hand. She saw that although her sword had slashed onto the Snow Demon's body, it had actually been unable to harm the Snow Demon. How did she do it? You have the cultivation of a transcendent emperor, but you can't even injure a half-step transcendent emperor like me. Isn't this a clear slap to the face? The Snow Demon sneered. Preposterous. The Shaman Emperor was enraged, which was rarely seen on her. In the next moment, the sword light that circled around her once again shot towards the Snow Demon. With a deafening sound, the sword light turned into countless hair-like sword lights that instantly pierced through the snow monster's body. If it was an ordinary person, they would have been sliced into thousands of pieces by this sword energy. However, the Snow Demon was not an ordinary living being. The countless sword marks on the Snow Demon's body actually disappeared in an instant. The Shaman Emperor waved her right hand and immediately retrieved the countless sword lights. However, when she saw that the Snow Demon was actually standing at the same spot as if nothing had happened, she was extremely shocked. I've already said that you can't kill me. Now, I'm going to kill you. As the Snow Demon spoke, she smiled strangely. In the next moment, she actually disappeared on the spot. Be careful. In the little void cave, Jiyu Fei reminded. Sword and shield, rise. The Shaman Emperor shouted. In the next moment, her sword light turned into a sword net that enveloped her. Swoosh. A slender hand suddenly appeared in front of the Shaman Emperor. It was suddenly cut off by the sword net and the fingertip was about to touch the Shaman Emperor's face. Bam! The severed hand fell to the ground and directly shattered into pieces, turning into a pile of crushed ice. When the Shaman Emperor saw this, she was extremely shocked. Could it be that the snow demon wasn't made of flesh and blood? Ha ha! The snow demon's laughter resounded. This laughter seemed to have some sort of power that could shake one's soul. Although Man Kuang and the rest were in the little void cave, they could still feel their souls being shaken. Only Ji Yufei was unaffected. Interesting. Ji Yufei saw that the Shaman Emperor was forced to protect herself by the snow demon. Ji Yufei's eyes lit up. The snow demon had already merged with the surrounding void and was hiding in the void. She moved quickly outside the Shaman Emperor's sword net and changed her position. She wanted to find the Shaman Emperor's weakness and then kill her. She had been searching for this little void cave for countless years. Now that she had finally found it, she naturally wouldn't leave just like that. She wanted to go in and find what she was looking for. However, the Shaman Emperor's sword net had no weakness at all. This was because this was the Shaman Emperor's absolute protection. To break this absolute protection, one could only use absolute strength to break it. However, in the Void Realm, there were only a few existences that were stronger than the Shaman Emperor. And Ji Yufei was one of them. Of course, Ji Yufei wouldn't fight the Shaman Emperor. What's wrong? A supreme existence in the Transcendent Emperor realm wants to be a coward now? The snow demon's voice rang out. At this moment, her voice was full of temptation, giving people a soul-stirring feeling. Obviously, the snow demon was proficient in the musical assassination technique. This kind of sound wave that could affect one's soul was a type of musical assassination technique. Under the influence of the snow demon's musical assassination technique, the Shaman Emperor's mind was actually affected by the sound wave. Keep your mind focused, and you won't be affected by the changes in the world. Ji Yufei's voice rang out in the Shaman Emperor's mind. Won't be affected by the changes in the world, won't be affected by the changes in the world, the Shaman Emperor murmured in his mind. His soul gradually calmed down, and the snow demon's sound wave could no longer affect him. Kill your way in, the snow demon ordered. In the next moment, the countless snowmen that had retreated rushed up again, directly charging into the little void cave. You guys go and play too, Ji Yufei said to Man Kuang and the rest. Looking at the countless snowmen charging in, Man Kuang and the rest were eager to give it a try. Now that Ji Yufei had given the order, it was naturally to their liking. Yes, master. Man Kuang grabbed a mace and charged towards the snowmen that were charging at him. This guy was like a terrifying beast, waving his mace and charging into the snowmen. In the next moment, countless snowmen were smashed into pieces by him, and ice and snow flew all over the sky. The mysterious Snake Emperor and the Flying Tiger Emperor followed suit. Ha ha! I'll smash as many as you come. Chapter 5369. The Snow Demon was definitely a special existence. Ji Yufei had never encountered such an existence before. The Snow Demon seemed to be indestructible. Even the Shaman Emperor's sword light could not harm it at all. The Shaman Emperor had no choice but to switch from offense to defense. She used her absolute protection sword Dao Mystique to protect herself. The Shaman Emperor's absolute protection was extremely powerful. Although it was only a defensive stance, it was not easy to break her sword Dao Mystique. For a moment, the Snow Demon could not do anything to the Shaman Emperor. The Shaman Emperor and the Snow Demon were in a stalemate. Neither could do anything to the other. However, the Snow Demon's army of snowmen rushed into the minor void utopia like a tidal wave. The snowmen that rushed into the minor void utopia were stopped by Man Kuang and the others. Man Kuang waved the mace in his hand crazily, smashing the snowmen into pieces. Wherever he went, large patches of snowmen were smashed into pieces. At this time, the mysterious Snake Emperor and the Flying Tiger Emperor also made their moves. They were both Emperor realm experts. The mysterious Snake Emperor immediately revealed his true form. That was a black serpent that was as huge as a dragon. With just a flick of its tail, it swept countless snowmen into the sky and shattered them in the void. Then, it started snowing in the minor void utopia. This was the first time it had snowed since the minor void utopia's existence. Soon, the area around the entrance was covered with a layer of sparkling white snow. In the minor void utopia, the snow was eye-catching and dazzling. It was completely out of place in the minor void utopia's scenery. As countless snowmen rushed into the minor void utopia, the snow became heavier and heavier. The flying tiger emperor and the mysterious snake emperor were both making their moves. The flying tiger emperor had 2 wings on his back. When he flapped his wings, astral winds howled. The snowmen were like white cloth bags, flying into the sky and exploding. With the 3 Emperor Realm experts making their moves, it was impossible for the snowmen to pass them and enter the minor void utopia unless the snow demon intervened. However, the snow demon was currently fighting the shaman emperor. Above the valley outside the waterfall, the snow demon's clones were entangling the 9-tailed fox emperor. The 9-tailed demon fox emperor was no weakling. It was unrealistic to think that it could keep the 9-tailed demon fox emperor occupied with just a few clones. High up in the sky, the 9-tailed fox emperor suddenly stopped. "Haha, so you want to hold me back?" The 9-tailed fox emperor laughed. The snow demon's clone laughed coldly and continued to attack the 9-tailed fox emperor. "It's just a small clone. Your real body isn't here." The 9-tailed fox emperor didn't care about the clones of the snow demons at all. With a wave of his hand, the clones of the snow demons flew out. "Hehe, it's too late to realize it now," one of the snow demons' avatars said proudly. Because at this time, their formation had already been completed. Boom. In the next moment, a blinding white light illuminated the world, and the 9-tailed demon fox emperor found itself in a white world. Formation space. The 9-tailed fox emperor was shocked. It wasn't a secret that the snow demon was proficient in the formation Dao. However, she didn't expect the snow demon's formation Dao to be so powerful. The 9-tailed fox emperor knew that it had been tricked. The reason why the snow demon was able to trap people was largely due to her cultivation in the Dao of formations. Even Jiyu Fei and the shaman emperor had been trapped by her before. She had then lured them to the valley of the 9-tailed demon fox emperor. Preposterous. The 9-tailed fox emperor was furious. She wasn't worried that the snow demon could hurt her, but she was worried about how long she would be trapped. Because the snow demon's clones couldn't hurt her at all. "You can play around in there," the snow demon's clone said proudly. "So what if your cultivation is high and you're strong? You're still tricked. Snow demon, you bastard." The 9-tailed fox emperor roared. However, the snow demon's clones didn't respond to her. "Oh no, the snow demon is heading for the lesser void heaven," the 9-tailed fox emperor suddenly realized. Trapping her with clones and then entering the lesser void heaven? However, the 9-tailed fox emperor laughed when she thought of the terrifying existence in the lesser void heaven. "Snow demon, you're finally in trouble." The 9-tailed fox emperor wasn't in a hurry to leave the formation space. At this moment, the snow demon didn't want to waste time with the witch emperor anymore, so she went around him and rushed into the lesser void heaven. "Such dense spiritual chi," the snow demon exclaimed as she sensed the spiritual chi of heaven and earth. Boom. She struck and sent Man Kuang and the others flying with a single palm strike. Man Kuang, the mysterious snake emperor, and the flying tiger emperor were no match for the snow demon. "Finally found it." The snow demon raised her head and saw a black hole hanging in the sky. "Huh! Why did the black hole come out by itself?" Jiyu Fei was surprised. Buzz. Up in the sky, the black hole shook and a shocking aura seeped out from it. "What's going on?" Jiyu Fei sensed that the power in the black hole was awakening. How was this possible? Even the 9-tailed fox emperor couldn't control the power in the black hole. Otherwise, it wouldn't be Jiyu Fei who captured the 9-tailed fox emperor. But now, he could clearly sense that the power in the black hole was awakening. This was not a small matter for anyone. "Haha, I'm finally invincible. I can finally leave." The snow demon laughed. "Huh!" Jiyu Fei couldn't help frowning when he heard Snow Demon's words. Was the Snow Demon coming for the black hole? The power in the black hole was indeed powerful. Even if he recovered to his strongest cultivation, he might not be able to fight against it. At this moment, A divine light shot out from the snow demon's forehead. She was resonating with the black hall in the sky. Rumble, the black hall in the sky started shaking. The power in the black hall was growing stronger and stronger. I see. Ji Fei smiled. The snow demon had obtained the item that could control the black hall. This item was also the item that could control the entire small void paradise. This was a good item. Although the nine-tailed fox emperor had found the small void paradise, she didn't find the item that could control the entire small void paradise. Ji Fei made his move. He merely snapped his fingers, and the snow demon's body trembled as if she had been struck by a heavy blow. The divine light that shone from between her brows also disappeared. A force directly sealed all the aura in the snow demon's body. Ji Fei merely snapped his fingers and cut off the connection between the snow demon and the black hall in the sky. What? The snow demon's shock was no small matter. Chapter 5370. The snow demon had been searching for the little void paradise for countless years. When she broke into the nine-tailed fox emperor's valley and found the little void paradise, she was overjoyed. She successfully broke into the little void paradise and lured the black hall out. However, right at the moment when she and the Black Palace were about to take away the Black Palace, extreme joy turned to sorrow. She only heard a snap of her fingers, and then she directly turned into a stone statue. She could not move at all, and only her eyeballs could move. How is this possible? The snow demon was shocked. In the culmination snow mountain, no one had ever been able to seal themselves in such a short time. Roar. The snow demon roared. Of course, she could not speak, but she could use her divine will. Boom. An extremely powerful force erupted from the snow monster's body in an attempt to break Ji Fei's seal. However, it was useless. The snow demon continued to exert force, but it was useless. She still could not break the seal. At this moment, Man Kuang and the others who witnessed this scene were also shocked. The sorcerer emperor's eyes lit up. Ji Fei, who had entered the little void paradise, was simply too strong. He was simply invincible. The snow demon was so powerful that she could trap the nine-tailed fox emperor with just a few clones. She even forced the sorcerer emperor to defend himself. Other than Ji Fei, no one was a match for the snow demon. If it were not for Ji Fei, the snow demon would have refined the black hall in the sky and killed them all. The entire culmination snow mountain, and even the creatures in the void realm, would have suffered. But now, Ji Fei had directly captured the snow demon. At this moment, Ji Fei pointed his finger at the snow demon's glabella. A seal entered the snow demon's glabella and imprinted itself into her divine soul. Then, the snow demon found that she could speak again. What did you do to me? The snow demon said hurriedly. She could clearly feel that something had entered her divine soul. It was definitely not a good thing. Right now, I am your master. Your life and death are in my hands. Ji Fei said to the snow demon with a faint smile. What? When the snow demon heard this, she was shocked and angry. This guy actually placed a restrictive spell on her body. This was outrageous. Ji Fei snapped his fingers again. Then, the powerful force that imprisoned the snow demon instantly disappeared. The snow demon immediately realized that she could move. She immediately looked into her body, but she was shocked to discover that she couldn't find anything in her body. Shui Yarrow thought to herself, could this guy be lying to me? You still don't believe me? With a thought from Ji Fei, the snow demon's expression immediately changed. She felt as if her divine soul was about to dissipate. It was terrifying to the extreme. The snow demon immediately held its head and screamed in pain. This kind of soul-tearing pain was not something an ordinary person could bear. Ji Fei let out a cold laugh. In the next instant, he came to a stop. The snow demon's head no longer hurt. The snow demon stared at Ji Fei. She was filled with hatred. How could this human become her master just like that? The snow demon was so angry that she wanted to vomit blood. Ha ha ha. You deserve this. Man Kuang laughed heartily. Man Kuang and the others were tortured by the snow demon. Now that they saw the snow demon being tortured by Ji Fei, they naturally rejoiced in her misfortune. You subdued the snow demon? At this moment, a figure rushed into the minor void grotto. It was the nine-tailed fox emperor. When she saw the snow demon looking at Jiu Fei with fear in her eyes, she was dumbfounded. She had been fighting with the snow demon for countless years and was always at a disadvantage. Otherwise, she wouldn't have stayed in the valley for so long. But now, the snow demon was afraid. She had never seen the snow demon afraid of anyone because no one could do anything to her on the culmination snow mountain. "Phut, what's so difficult about that?" Jiu Fei said proudly. In the minor void grotto, he had recovered his cultivation. Capturing the snow demon was as easy as flipping his palm. The nine-tailed fox emperor was speechless. No one knew the snow demon's strength better than she did. Although the snow demon was only a half-step transcendent emperor, she had endless power in the snowy mountain. She had used a few incarnations to trap the nine-tailed fox emperor. Moreover, the snow demon had thousands of incarnations. It would be difficult to kill her and even more difficult to capture her. "What did you do to me?" The snow demon roared at Jiu Fei. "Didn't you try it just now?" Jiu Fei said with a faint smile. "Why? You don't want to recognize me as your master? Then I won't make things difficult for you. How about I send you on your way?" Jiu Fei was still smiling. "You want to kill me?" The snow demon was shocked. "If you don't submit, then die. It's that simple." Jiu Fei shrugged and said nonchalantly, "I have thousands of incarnations. How can you kill me?" The snow demon suddenly laughed. "Hee hee. What other choice do you have now?" Jiu Fei was confident. This confidence came from his strength. "This isn't my true body." The snow demon suddenly calmed down. She had been pretending to be weak all along. "This isn't your true body." When the nine-tailed fox emperor heard this, she was shocked. If this wasn't the snow demon's true body, then wouldn't her true body be even stronger? The snow demon was a transcendent emperor. All this while, she had been fighting against a clone of the snow demon. This was unbelievable. One must know that she had been fighting against the snow demon for countless years. She had thought that she knew everything about the snow demon. Who would have thought that this snow demon was just a clone? This was something that the nine-tailed fox emperor could not accept. "Since that's the case, you can go and die now," Jiu Fei said as he stretched out his right hand, ready to snap his fingers again. "Hold on. If you kill me and anger my true body, the consequences will be dire," the snow demon said anxiously. "Is that so?" With that, Jiu Fei snapped his fingers. In the next moment, the snow demon exploded on the spot. Both her body and soul were destroyed. The power of the snow demon's explosion was so strong that everyone was shocked. But what happened next made everyone's jaws drop. Jiu Fei reached out and grabbed the power of the explosion, devouring it. The nine-tailed fox emperor did not expect Jiu Fei to devour the power so quickly. One should know that the explosion of a half-step transcendent emperor was extremely powerful. Even the nine-tailed fox emperor had to dodge it. With the death of the snow demon, the snowmen that had rushed into the minor void paradise lost control. They collapsed and turned into ice cubes. The moment the snow demon exploded, a figure sitting in front of a bronze door on the peak of a snowy mountain suddenly opened his eyes. This was a being that looked exactly like the snow demon. "Someone destroyed one of my clones." Chapter 5371. The little void paradise was really full of twists and turns. No one would have thought that the snow demon, which had thousands of incarnations, was just a clone of someone else. The nine-tailed fox emperor was extremely depressed at this result. She felt that she had been fighting with someone else's clone for countless years. She could not accept this. Just a clone? Jiu Fei smiled. It seemed that he had provoked a mysterious and powerful existence. Who was the person behind the snow demon? Jiu Fei was a little curious. However, the shaman emperor and the nine-tailed fox emperor were very calm. At this moment, Jiu Fei noticed that something had fallen to the ground. It was a pearl, a black pearl. Jiu Fei stretched out his right hand and the bead on the ground flew into his hand. Jiu Fei stared at the bead in his hand. It was only the size of an adult's thumb, and the material of the bead seemed to be the same as the Black Temple. Could it be An idea suddenly flashed through Ji Yufei's mind. Could this bead be the thing that could control the Black Temple? The snow demon just now could communicate with the Black Temple in the sky. If he had not sealed the snow demon would probably have controlled the Black Temple by now. The power inside the Black Temple was extremely powerful. If someone could control the power inside the Black Temple, even if Ji Yufei recovered his infinite prime cultivation, he would still be in trouble. At this moment, the Shaman Emperor and the Nine-Tailed Fox Emperor were all staring at the bead in Ji Yufei's hand. Ji Yufei tried to inject a strand of his divine will into the bead. In the next moment, Ji Yufei felt the world spin around him, and then he realized that he had appeared in a small world. The small world was not very big, and Ji Yufei could instantly cover the entire small world with a thought. At this moment, a figure appeared in front of Ji Yufei without any warning. Ji Yufei's pupils shrank when he saw this. Even he could not sense how this guy appeared. Could this guy's cultivation be higher than his? How was this possible? Hey, you're quite interesting. You're actually not from the void world. This person had only glanced at Ji Yufei, but it was as if he had seen through him. This made Ji Yufei feel a little shocked, because no one had ever been able to tell that he was not an existence of this world at first sight. Who are you? Ji Yufei looked at the middle-aged man in white and said indifferently. This white-robed, middle-aged man floated in the air with 3 strands of long beard fluttering in front of his chest. He had the demeanor of an immortal and was looking at Ji Yufei with a deep gaze. Me. I am the ruler of this world. The middle-aged man in white said proudly. TSK, you're just an artifact soul. Ji Yufei raised his middle finger at the middle-aged man. How did you know? The white-robed middle-aged man immediately fell silent, unable to keep up his act. TSK, continue pretending. Why aren't you pretending anymore? Ji Yufei was speechless. This guy actually dared to trick him. Of course, this guy wasn't wrong. He really was the ruler of this world. This guy was the artifact soul of the black bead. Regardless of whether he was the artifact soul of an immortal artifact or a divine artifact, he was not a living being with flesh and blood. He was just an existence of a soul. Why do I need to pretend? Am I not the ruler of this place? The white-robed middle-aged man could no longer maintain his demeanor of an immortal. Tell me, what use do you have? Ji Yufei said. Use. The white-robed middle-aged man was stunned when he heard this. If you have no use, then there's no value in your existence. Ji Yufei said indifferently. What? You want? You're too cruel. No one has ever treated me like this. The white-robed middle-aged man exclaimed. You're just an artifact soul. I'll erase you and brand my mark on you. Only then can I control this thing. Ji Yufei said disapprovingly. Don't. The artifact soul panicked. It had existed for countless years and had already developed its own consciousness. If it was erased, it would die. It didn't want to die. Then tell me, what use do you have? Ji Yufei crossed his arms and looked at the middle-aged man calmly. I know too many things. I don't even know where to start. The white-robed middle-aged man said anxiously. Your origin, Ji Yufei reminded. My origin, I am a world-suppressing Tao artifact forged by the Void Master. The white-robed middle-aged man was extremely anxious and flustered. You're a world-suppressing Tao artifact? Ji Yufei was shocked when he heard this. A world-suppressing Tao artifact was a supreme Tao artifact that could suppress a world. This Tao artifact should be quite powerful. That's right. Sai, please show mercy and let me go. The white-robed middle-aged man begged. You want me to let you go? I should be the one asking you to let me go. Ji Yufei sighed with a bitter smile. Sai, I can't even play with you. You're too smart. However, smart people don't live long. The white-robed middle-aged man put away his terrified expression and looked solemn. His whole aura was different, giving people a feeling that he was looking down on the world. It was as if this guy had changed into another person. Sure enough, the soul of a world-suppressing Tao artifact won't be so weak. Ji Yufei stared at the white-robed middle-aged man and said coldly. It's too boring to stay here. How can I not find some fun? The white-robed middle-aged man smiled. You shouldn't have exposed me so early. At least play with me. You'll get some benefits. The last time that little girl played with me here for dozens of years. The white-robed middle-aged man said. What? Snow Demon played with you here for dozens of years? Jiu Fei was stunned when he heard this. Playing with this guy here for dozens of years was really abnormal. He was bored to death just playing here for a day or two. That little girl didn't play with me for nothing. I gave her a great fortune. The middle-aged man explained. You still want me to play with you here for dozens of years? Jiu Fei looked at the white-robed middle-aged man with a faint smile. That's the best. Moreover, you can't get out now. The white-robed middle-aged man said proudly. Can't get out? Jiu Fei couldn't help but frown when he heard this. He didn't say anything. He reached out and drew a line in the void in front of him. The void shook, but it didn't tear. Interesting. Jiu Fei smiled. Haha, you just stay here and play with me for dozens of years. When I'm in a good mood, I might let you out. The white-robed middle-aged man laughed. Jiu Fei was speechless. Chapter 5372. In the Little Void Paradise, Jiu Fei's sudden disappearance shocked everyone. Jiu Fei would not disappear for no reason. In the air, a thumb-sized black bead floated. At this moment, the bead was emitting a faint black light. Everyone stared at the bead. Jiu Fei's sudden disappearance must have something to do with this mysterious bead. However, no one would have thought that there was a small world inside the bead, and in this small world, there was a world suppressor tool's soul. A world suppressor was to suppress a world. This world suppressor tool's soul was too powerful. It was a Tao tool's soul that was refined by a supreme being to suppress a world. Even Jiu Fei did not dare to be careless in front of this world suppressor tool's soul. Where did Master go? Man Kuang asked with a trembling voice. There's something strange about this bead. The Witch Emperor said indifferently. What's strange about it? The Nine-Tailed Fox Emperor asked curiously. I don't know. The Witch Emperor shook her head. How could she know why Jiu Fei suddenly disappeared? Among the experts present, the Witch Emperor and the Nine-Tailed Fox Emperor had the highest cultivation. The Nine-Tailed Fox Emperor's cultivation was even higher than the Witch Emperor's. The Witch Emperor and the Nine-Tailed Fox Emperor could not see anything. They stared at the black bead and studied it for a long time, but in the end, they could not find anything. The black light on the bead gradually disappeared. Then, under everyone's gaze, the small black bead fell to the ground and rolled to the Witch Emperor's feet. The Witch Emperor subconsciously took a step back and looked at the bead in fear. Jiu Fei had obtained this bead and suddenly disappeared. In the Little Void Paradise, Jiu Fei was an invincible existence. Even a powerful existence like the Snow Demon was subdued by Jiu Fei with a snap of his fingers. With Jiu Fei as an example, who would dare to touch this black bead? No one knew what to do. At this time, at the peak of Culmination Snow Mountain, in front of the ancient bronze door, a figure who had been sitting in front of the bronze door for God knows how long slowly stood up. Since you dared to destroy my clone, you will have to pay the price. A heavenly voice rang out, breaking the silence on the summit of the snowy mountain. The universal copper gate was the most mysterious thing in the void realm. It was just a tightly shut gate, but it hid the biggest secret of the void realm. Throughout the history of the void realm, countless people and alien races had wanted to know this secret. However, the copper gate of heaven and earth had existed since ancient times. During the primordial era, there were people who wanted to open the copper gate of heaven and earth. Therefore, the copper gate of heaven and earth was also called the primordial copper gate. Of course, the copper gate of heaven and earth definitely existed before the primordial era. No one knew when the copper door of heaven and earth had appeared. However, it was rumored that the copper door of heaven and earth did not exist in the void realm. In reality, the heaven and earth copper gate was not something from the void realm. This was because no one in the void realm could refine such an item. Throughout the history of the void realm, the Tao weapons refined by the strong beings could not harm the copper gate of heaven and earth at all. No one could destroy the copper gate of heaven and earth. This existence that looked exactly like the snow demon stood up from the huge stone that she was sitting on. In the next moment, she instantly disappeared into the void. At this moment, Ji Fei was repairing the world-suppressing tool spirit in the space within the black bead. Bam! Ji Fei punched the world-suppressing tool spirit in the face, sending the world-suppressing tool spirit flying into a forest. Damned human! How dare you slap my handsome face? Boom! As the world-suppressing tool spirit cursed, the entire forest exploded. A figure instantly rushed in front of Ji Fei. Aren't you very powerful? Come, let's spar. Ji Fei smiled as he took a step forward. In an instant, his face was almost stuck to the world-suppressing tool spirit's face. In the next moment, the world-suppressing tool spirit arched its body like a prawn. How is this possible? The world-suppressing tool spirit was stunned by Ji Fei's punch. How could this fella hit it? In the past, the fellas that came in were all very weak, and it could only abuse them. But now, this fella that came in actually hit it twice. More importantly, it clearly saw this fella make a move, but it still got hit. This was the first time it had encountered something like this after living for so many years. This made the world-suppressing tool spirit extremely depressed. Ji Fei's right fist shook, and the world-suppressing tool spirit was sent flying again. It was flung high up into the sky, and then it fell from the sky. Bam! The ground was filled with dust. The world-suppressing tool spirit that fell from the sky directly smashed a huge hole in the ground. Moreover, it was a human-shaped hole. Roar! The middle-aged man that the world-suppressing tool spirit transformed into crawled out of the human-shaped hole and roared at the sky. He was furious. He was no longer that sage-like guy in fluttering white clothes. Instead, he was in an extremely sorry state, covered in dust. The current him was simply like a beggar. His handsome face was gone, and his sage-like aura was also gone. This almost drove him crazy. The world-suppressing tool spirit had always paid great attention to its appearance. It even had some misophobia. I'm going to kill you. The world-suppressing tool spirit was really angry, and it was furious. A shocking aura erupted from its body, and the entire small world was shaking. In an instant, it drew the power of the entire small world. If it were the nine-tailed fox emperor or the shaman emperor who entered this small world, then they definitely could not contend with the world-suppressing tool spirit. They would be completely suppressed. However, Ji Fei was different. He was a supreme existence in the infinite prime realm, who knew how many times stronger than the nine-tailed fox emperor and the shaman emperor. In here, even the world-suppressing tool spirit could not suppress Ji Fei. How is this possible? The world-suppressing tool spirit was extremely shocked. How could this guy not be suppressed by it? Could it be that the power of the entire small world could not suppress this guy? The power of the entire small world gathered towards the world-suppressing tool spirit in a frenzy. The space around it trembled violently, and transparent ripples that could be seen with the naked eye spread out in all directions. The might of the world-suppressing tool spirit was earth-shattering. It stared at Ji Fei ferociously, wanting to tear Ji Fei into pieces. You dare glare at me? Ji Fei suddenly smiled evilly. In the next moment, he actually disappeared into the void, and then appeared before the world-suppressing tool spirit without any warning. Slap. Ji Fei directly gave the world-suppressing tool spirit a resounding slap. The slap directly stunned the world-suppressing tool spirit. I gave you a big slap. Does it feel good? Chapter 5373. How is this possible? I am the master here. In the small world inside the black bead, the realm suppressor spirit was stunned by Ji Fei's slap. He was the master inside the realm pearl. No one could bully him inside the realm pearl, only he could bully others. But now, the realm suppressor spirit was in trouble. The power of the realm pearl could not suppress this guy at all. Then, the realm suppressor spirit was tortured by Ji Fei. It even wanted to die. Slap. With another resounding slap, the middle-aged man transformed from the world-suppressing artifact soul was sent flying by Ji Fei's slap. Arth. The realm suppressor spirit was enraged. It was crazy. This guy was too despicable. He hit people but not their faces. He had been slapped twice in succession by Ji Fei, and the handsome face that the vessel soul of the true world was so proud of had been destroyed. This drove him mad. Kill. The realm suppressor spirit roared. Before it fell to the ground, countless divine lights rushed out of its body. Every ray of divine light pierced through the void. All the divine lights pierced towards Gu Fei. However, the scene that appeared in the next moment terrified the world-suppressing artifact's soul. Gu Fei opened his mouth and sucked. All the divine lights piercing towards him were swallowed into his body. What? The realm suppressor spirit finally realized that it had met a tough opponent. Could this person be in existence on the same level as its master? Thinking of this, the realm-suppressing artifact soul was really shocked. In fact, Gu Fei's cultivation had already recovered to the infinite realm when he was in the minor void paradise without the suppression of the void realm's laws. Moreover, he had cultivated all over again in the void realm, and he had even reached the eternal realm. Therefore, after recovering in the small void paradise, his cultivation had actually improved. When he was suppressed by the void realm's laws, he had just broken through to the infinite realm and was only at the initial stage. But now, he was already an unbounded mid-level cultivator. The owner of the artifact soul should also be an infinite prime. However, the cultivation of the artifact soul should be greater than Gu Fei's. This was because the owner of the world-suppressing artifact soul was not afraid of the mirage's natural laws. However, even though Gu Fei was at the intermediate stage of the infinite supreme, he was still suppressed by the natural laws of the void realm. He couldn't recover his true cultivation. However, although it was still difficult for Gu Fei to contend against the mirage's heaven and earth laws, it was still more than enough for him to bully this realm-suppressing artifact soul. Not bad, give me some more. Gu Fei licked his lips and said, "What? You actually devoured my power?" The world-suppressing artifact soul was indescribably shocked. This fella was just too terrifying, able to even devour the power of this place. How was this possible? One had to understand that no one had ever been able to devour the vitality of this place. Because the energy within the realm bead was very stable, it was very difficult for outsiders to refine the Yuan Qi here. The heaven and earth spiritual Qi here is not bad. Gu Fei nodded as he sensed the spiritual energy in the surroundings. What are you trying to do? The world-suppressing artifact seemed to have a premonition that something bad was about to happen. Since you refuse to acknowledge me as your master, I'll just refine you then. Gu Fei replied nonchalantly. You want to refine me? The world-suppressing artifact looked at Gu Fei in shock. Do you think that I'm joking? As he said that, Gu Fei extended his right hand and grabbed at the world-suppressing artifact. Haha. This is my territory. You want to catch me? Dream on. The world-suppressing artifact retreated. However, Gu Fei's palm continued to expand rapidly in the eyes of the world-suppressing artifact. Instantly, it covered the entire sky. Following that gigantic palm descended and grabbed the world-suppressing artifact in his hand. What? The world-suppressing artifact's shock was by no means insignificant. This human was way scarier than he had imagined. Haha. Are you embarrassed now? Gu Fei burst out laughing. You really want to refine me? The world-suppressing artifact was truly flustered right now. After existing for countless of years, he naturally did not want to die just like that. However, the other party's cultivation state was simply way too horrifying. Even though the world-suppressing artifact was strong, he could not unleash the full extent of his powers within the world bead. That was because the powers of the world within the world bead were way too weak. What do I get out of lying to you? As Gu Fei said that, a tremendous amount of power burst forth from his hands. Countless Tao patterns burst forth from his hands and imprinted themselves onto the world-suppressing artifact in his hands. Don't. I'll acknowledge you as my master. I'll acknowledge you as my master. The world-suppressing artifact screamed out in fright. What were you doing earlier on? Begging for mercy now? Gu Fei replied indifferently. Don't. I don't want to be refined. To think that the world-suppressing artifact would cry. At this moment, the body of the world-suppressing artifact was imprinted with countless Tao patterns. Every single Tao pattern was filled with the power of the great Tao. A tremendous power of the great Tao sealed up the world-suppressing artifact. Oh my God, you're already an old monster, yet you're still crying? Ji Yufei was speechless. The world-suppressing artifact actually wanted to use this trick to trick him? Master, my master, please let me go. The world-suppressing artifact was actually crying with snot and tears. It was extremely miserable. Alright, if you cry again, I'll really refine you. Ji Yufei roared at the world-suppressing artifact. This guy was too embarrassing. At any rate, this guy was an existence that had lived for countless years. Furthermore, he was the world-suppressing artifact's soul. How could he be such a weirdo? Thank you, Master, for not killing me. Thank you, Master, for not killing me. This lowly one will not hesitate to go through water and tread on fire for Master in the future. The world-suppressing artifact hurriedly expressed its loyalty. It had no choice but to express its loyalty. After all, its life and death was in the hands of the other party. Right now, survival was the most important thing. Ji Yufei did not speak anymore. With a thought, the Tao patterns imprinted on the world-suppressing artifact's soul immediately gathered together. They turned into a forbidden technique and disappeared into the body of the world-suppressing artifact. When the world-suppressing artifact's soul sensed the changes on its body, it was both alarmed and enraged. However, it did not dare to act up. To think that this human would have placed a forbidden technique on its body, the world-suppressing artifact's soul couldn't be any more familiar with methods such as placing down forbidden techniques. After all, it had frequently used this move to subdue those fellas that entered the small world within the realm bead. This move could be said to have been tried and tested time and time again by the world-suppressing artifact's soul. But right now, it seemed like it had kicked an iron plate. This was truly a reversal of fortune. To think that it would be the one who had placed a forbidden technique on its body, this was truly retribution. I won't kill you. However, your life and death is in the hands of a single thought of mine. Ji Yufei stood with his hands behind his back and said indifferently. His tone was filled with a hint of smugness. Chapter 5374. Ji Yufei had never subdued an existence like the world-suppressing tool soul before. This was because there were very few world-suppressing tool souls. Even for Ji Yufei, it was his first time subduing a world-suppressing tool soul. This gave him a sense of accomplishment. Ji Yufei was slightly proud. Subduing the world-suppressing tool soul was equivalent to obtaining a world. Tell me about your background. Ji Yufei stood with his hands behind his back as he looked up at the sky and said calmly. The world-suppressing tool soul hesitated for a moment, but it still told him about its background. It turned out that this world-suppressing tool soul was the world-suppressing tool soul of the Little Void Utopia. This world pearl was where it resided, but this world pearl had been wandering outside. This was because this Little Void Utopia wasn't originally here. It had fallen from the unbounded realm to the void realm. The owner of the Little Void Utopia was an unbounded realm expert. This world was called the Void Realm because a supreme existence called Sacred Lord Void Sky had accidentally come to the Void Realm many years ago. After Sacred Lord Void Sky had accidentally come to the Void Realm, he had been looking for a way back. Unfortunately, even with his supreme cultivation, he couldn't find the way back and was trapped in this world. Where did your original master go? Ji Yufei was very curious. If Sacred Lord Void Sky was still here, this world pearl wouldn't have been wandering outside. If Sacred Lord Void Sky was still here, then he would be the unlucky one and not the world-suppressing tool soul. I don't know either. The world-suppressing tool soul said with a serious expression. Even you don't know? Ji Yufei was very surprised. One had to know that this Little Void Utopia was a small world created by Sacred Lord Void Sky. Sacred Lord Void Sky didn't even want his own inner world. This was too ridiculous. An inner world was a world that an expert carried with them. Unless the owner of the inner world died or the owner of the inner world severed their connection with the inner world could exist independently in the outside world. Was Sacred Lord Void Sky dead or alive? No one knew. Not even the world-suppressing tool soul knew. Alright, your original master's cultivation technique and whatnot must have been left behind. Ji Fei said. At this moment, he was a little nervous. After all, Sacred Lord Shu Tian was in existence at the peak of the peerless power realm. This overpowered cultivation technique would be a great reference for him. Yes, I do. After saying that, the world-suppressing artifact waved its right hand and a book appeared in space. This was not a true book, but a divine will. Furthermore, it was Sacred Lord Void Sky's divine will. This was his inheritance, the inheritance that he had left behind. Ji Fei didn't hesitate. With a wave of his hand, the ancient book flew directly into his hand and entered his body. Soon, countless cultivation techniques appeared in his sea of consciousness. Sacred Lord Void Sky's techniques were truly all-encompassing. There were at least a few thousand of them. Ji Fei would not cultivate these techniques. This was because these techniques all belonged to Sacred Lord Void Sky. Of course, there was nothing wrong with cultivating this kind of cultivation method. Ji Fei could just use it directly. With his current cultivation, there was no need for him to cultivate it at all. He could just use it directly. Among these techniques, the core was a supreme mysterious technique, the Void Sky Mysterious Technique. This was the core and most basic technique of all of Sacred Lord Void Sky's techniques. If I meet a fated person, I will pass down your original master's inheritance, Ji Fei said. Sacred Lord Void Sky's inheritance was definitely a supreme inheritance. It was also the highest level of inheritance that Ji Fei had obtained. Master, I don't want to stay here anymore. Can you take me out? The world-suppressing artifact suddenly said to Ji Fei. The small world within the world bead was only so big. He had been here for countless years and didn't want to stay here any longer. He was constantly thinking about how to leave this place. You want to leave? Ji Fei frowned when he heard this. This was not an easy task. After all, it was a powerful existence like Sacred Master Shu Tian who had sealed the world-suppressing tool's soul here. Otherwise, how could a small world bead trap the world-suppressing artifact? If he wanted to take this guy out, he would first have to break the seal that Sacred Lord Void Sky had left behind. Moreover, what made the world-suppressing artifact depressed was that the seal that its original master had left behind was specifically for it. Therefore, Ji Fei could leave, but it couldn't. The world-suppressing artifact knew that Ji Fei was in existence in the same realm as its original master. Therefore, it wanted Ji Fei to break the seal that Sacred Lord Void Sky had left behind. Master, please. The world-suppressing artifact begged. Ji Fei pondered. The seal that Sacred Lord Void Sky had left behind was not that easy to break. All right, I will try. Ji Fei nodded. Then, he sat down in the void with his legs crossed. At this time, a person appeared outside the small void paradise. It was a person that looked exactly like the snow demon from before. However, this person was colder, stronger, and more terrifying than the snow demon from before. She's here, she's here, she's here without any warning. She suddenly appeared in the small void paradise. So this place really does exist. The real snow demon sensed the small void paradise. She was still very calm. Her clone was very excited to enter this place. You're the real snow demon? The nine-tailed fox emperor's voice trembled as he stared at the woman that looked exactly like the snow demon. Of course, the real snow demon said indifferently. You guys can't possibly destroy my clone. Who did it? The real snow demon didn't care about the experts present at all. She was very confident. No one knew the strength of her clone better than she did. The nine-tailed fox emperor and the shaman emperor were both transcendent emperor realm existences. The other three were only emperor realm existences. In her eyes, they were just 3 ants. However, the nine-tailed fox emperor and the shaman emperor couldn't destroy her clone. No one spoke. Not talking? Then I'll search your souls. The real snow demon grabbed at the nine-tailed fox emperor as she spoke. Although her clone was connected to her, she didn't know who killed her clone. That was because the clone's will had dissipated and no longer existed. Die. The shaman emperor and the nine-tailed fox emperor dodged the huge hand and attacked together. The real snow demon gave them too much pressure. They had no choice but to work together. In the next moment, The real snow demon was surrounded by the nine-tailed fox emperor's silhouettes. The shaman emperor shot out an immortal sword light towards the real snow demon. The snow demon reached out with her right hand and flicked the sword light. The shaman emperor's sword light was deflected. At the same time, the snow demon reached out with her left hand and grabbed the nine-tailed fox emperor's neck. The next moment, the nine-tailed fox emperor's silhouettes disappeared. Chapter 5375. The snow demon's real body was extremely powerful. She flicked away the shaman emperor's sword light with her finger, then grabbed the nine-tailed fox emperor's neck and lifted her into the air. The nine-tailed fox emperor's phantom technique was useless in front of the snow demon's real body. "Tell me, who destroyed my clone?" The snow demon's real body's tone was extremely cold. This was a true icy beauty. There was not a hint of emotion in her tone, but there was not a trace of murderous intent in her body either. However, the nine-tailed fox emperor knew that her life depended on a single thought from the snow demon. As long as the snow demon willed it, she would die immediately. Kill. When the shaman emperor saw this, he unleashed his ultimate move. With a furious roar, in the next instant, countless sword lights appeared in the air and covered the entire sky as they pierced down towards the true body of the snow demon. The powerful sword chi spread in all directions. The temperature of the entire area dropped rapidly under the impact of the sword chi. Even Man Kuang and the rest who had retreated far away could feel the chill. What a powerful sword chi! Man Kuang and the rest were shocked as they looked at this scene in fear. Scram! The snow demon's real body waved her left hand and a powerful force immediately spread out from her sleeves. The countless sword lights that were piercing towards her actually shattered in the air and disappeared. The shaman emperor felt a strong force coming towards her. Then, she flew backwards uncontrollably, blood seeping out from the corner of her mouth. Too powerful, the shaman emperor was extremely shocked. Could the snow demon's real body be the same as Ji Fei, a supreme existence that surpassed the transcendent emperor realm? The shaman emperor's forehead was covered with a layer of cold sweat. Such an existence was probably invincible in the entire void world, let alone in the void world. At this moment, their lives were in the hands of the snow demon's real body. This is bad. Man Kuang and the rest were already scared out of their wits. Still not talking? Then I can only search your soul. The snow demon's real body said indifferently. The nine-tailed demon fox emperor was both shocked and furious. She couldn't even fight back against this guy. She had been caught by him and was even lifted in his hand. To her, this was simply a great humiliation. However, the nine-tailed demon fox emperor was very stubborn and did not give in just like that. Very good. The snow demon true body was about to attack. "Hey, why are you so fierce? Hey, you're that real body?" Just then, a feminine voice rang out. Then, a figure appeared behind the snow demon's true form. This person appeared without any warning, as if he had appeared out of thin air. This person was dressed in white, with 3 strands of long beard hanging down to his chest, giving him the air of an immortal. Who is this guy? Everyone was shocked, and they all stared at this white-clothed middle-aged man with wide eyes. This fellow was the soul of the little void utopia's world-suppressing treasure. "It's you." When the snow demon true body saw the realm-suppressing artifact soul, she couldn't help but frown. Her avatar had been trapped in the realm pearl for decades, so she naturally knew about the existence of the realm-suppressing artifact soul. "Let go of that little fox." The realm-suppressing artifact soul said to the snow demon true body. "You've trapped my avatar for decades, and I haven't even settled the score with you yet. How dare you act so presumptuously in front of me?" The snow demon true body said coldly. "TCH, so what if I act presumptuously in front of you? Are you going to eat me?" The realm-suppressing artifact soul said disapprovingly. Now, aside from Ji Fei, no one could do anything to it, let alone kill it. The realm-suppressing artifact soul was a special existence. Normal methods would never be able to destroy it. Only special methods could do it. At this moment, Ji Fei, who was hiding in the distant sky, was watching this scene. "Is that the snow demon true body?" Ji Fei looked at the white-clothed woman who was holding the nine-tailed demon fox emperor in one hand and couldn't help but frown. This fellow who looked exactly like the snow demon was very strong. He didn't expect such a powerful existence to exist in the void realm. The snow demon true body's cultivation was probably at the infinite prime realm. No wonder the nine-tailed demon fox emperor and the others weren't a match for the snow demon true body. With the snow demon true body's cultivation, it was enough to sweep through the entire void realm. Only Yuxian the limitless sword master formed by Palace Master Ling Tian, and the limitless demon king could compete with it. Preposterous. This old man has lived for countless years, and no one has ever dared to disrespect me. You are the first, no, the second person who dares to disrespect me. The realm-suppressing artifact soul suddenly thought of Ji Fei and immediately became silent. Ji Fei had successfully broken the seal left behind by Sacred Master Shu Tian. At this moment, the realm-suppressing artifact soul could enter and exit the realm pearl at will. The realm-suppressing artifact soul waved its right hand, and the realm pearl on the ground immediately flew into its hand. This was where it resided, and it couldn't be lost. As long as it had the realm pearl, it could go anywhere. Oh, there's still the first person who disrespected you. Who is that person? The snow demon true body asked curiously. Cut the crap. Let them go. The realm-suppressing artifact soul was a little impatient. Ji Fei had asked it to save the nine-tailed demon fox emperor. If it couldn't do it, it would be too embarrassing. One should know that this was the first time it was doing something for its master. You want me to let them go? That depends on whether you have the ability or not. The snow demon true body said proudly. Haha, very good. This old man hasn't come out to play for a long time. Let's play then. The realm-suppressing artifact soul instantly disappeared into the void. The snow demon true body sneered. In the next moment, she waved her left hand, and the void around her trembled. Then, a figure fell out of the void. You have some ability. I underestimated you. The realm-suppressing artifact soul was a little embarrassed. However, in this place, it was the ruler because it was the realm-suppressing artifact soul of the small void paradise. In the next moment, as the realm-suppressing artifact soul willed, the entire small void paradise changed color. The sun and moon dimmed, and the entire world darkened. An endless amount of spiritual chi of heaven and earth crazily gathered towards the realm-suppressing artifact soul. An astonishing power erupted from the realm-suppressing artifact soul. Come, come, come. I'll play with you with my left hand. The snow demon true body stretched out its left hand and hooked its finger at the realm-suppressing artifact soul. What? How dare you look down on me? The realm-suppressing artifact soul was furious. This person was too despicable. World cage. The realm-suppressing artifact soul was furious. In the next moment, rays of divine light descended from the sky and interweaved into a light cage, trapping the snow demon true body within. This was a light cage formed by the power of heaven and earth. It was truly the world cage. Chapter 5376. Culmination Snow Mountain, in the valley of the nine-tailed demon fox emperor, inside the little void paradise. Like a peerless old monster that had been trapped for countless years, the soul of the world-suppressing treasure activated the power of the entire little void heaven and turned it into a cage, trapping Shueyao inside. However, the nine-tailed fox emperor was being held in the hands of the snow demon true body. Therefore, the nine-tailed fox emperor and the snow demon true body were trapped in the world cage. Haha, now you know how powerful I am. The world-suppressing artifact soul was very proud of itself. At this moment, when the shaman emperor saw this from afar, he was extremely shocked. Where did this guy come from? Moreover, this fellow was too powerful, wasn't he? He actually captured the snow demon's true body in one move? One should know that the snow demon's true form had charged into the minor void cave heaven and defeated him and the nine-tailed fox emperor in one move. The strength of the snow demon true body was undeniable. Is this all you've got? The snow demon true body sneered. She unhurriedly pointed at the nine-tailed fox emperor's forehead. Just as the nine-tailed demon fox emperor was about to be searched by the snow demon true body, the nine-tailed demon fox emperor suddenly disappeared from the snow demon true body's hand. What? The snow demon true body's shock was no small matter. The nine-tailed demon fox emperor had already been captured by him, yet he could still escape? How was this possible? However, the truth was the truth. The nine-tailed fox emperor had really disappeared. When the shaman emperor saw this scene, her eyes instantly widened. She also did not know why the nine-tailed demon fox emperor would suddenly disappear. With the cultivation of the snow demon true body, the nine-tailed demon fox emperor would definitely not be able to escape by itself. Even if the nine-tailed demon fox emperor was proficient in escaping techniques, it would still be impossible. This was because the nine-tailed demon fox emperor was under the control of the snow demon true body. She had all her mystiques, but she couldn't use them at all, much less escape. There was only one possibility. Someone had saved the nine-tailed fox. In the eyes of the shaman emperor, the person who had saved the nine-tailed demon fox emperor from the hands of the snow demon true body should be this sage-like fellow who had suddenly appeared. Of all the people present, only this fellow had the ability to save the nine-tailed demon fox emperor from the hands of the snow demon true body. Preposterous. Who is it? The snow demon's true body was enraged. The world-suppressing artifact soul was displeased. This fellow actually didn't suspect that it had rescued the little fox. Could it be that he actually knew that it wasn't it who did it? At this moment, the nine-tailed demon fox emperor appeared in the sky, beside Ji Fei. However, no one could sense the presence of Ji Fei and the nine-tailed fox emperor. Not even the snow demon's true form could. The nine-tailed fox emperor looked at Ji Fei in horror. She never imagined that Ji Fei would have such a method to instantly rescue her from the hands of the snow demon true body. And Ji Fei actually appeared. The nine-tailed demon fox emperor was quite curious as to where Ji Fei had gone and why he had appeared here. Moreover, he did not attack the snow demon's true body. Damn it! At this moment, the snow demon's true body was enraged. Her body shook and a powerful wave of energy immediately erupted from her body. In the next moment, the cage formed by the interweaving pillars of light around her collapsed. The world-suppressing artifact soul was shocked. This snow demon's true body was very strong. It waved its right hand, and the entire world changed color. Rays of divine light descended from the sky and transformed into divine chains that wrapped around the snow demon's true body. The snow demon's true body laughed coldly. She waved her right hand unhurriedly, and countless rays of sword light immediately shot out from her hand. The sound of metal colliding resounded, and the divine chains that descended from the sky were directly severed by the snow demon's sword light. What? The world-suppressing artifact soul couldn't help but be shocked. This little girl really was very strong. You're just a artifact soul, yet you dare to act presumptuously before me? The snow demon's true body spoke coldly. Her figure flashed and appeared directly in front of the world-suppressing artifact soul, and then she smashed her fist directly onto the world-suppressing artifact's face. The world-suppressing artifact let out a shrill cry as it was blasted away by the snow demon's fist. Bang! It smashed into a short mountain over 5 kilometers away. Everyone who saw this scene was directly stunned. As soon as this fellow appeared, he had trapped the snow demon's true body with a wave of his hand. They had thought that this fellow was very powerful, but who would have thought that this fellow was not a king, but a loser? Whoosh! Man Kuang and the others immediately fled. Even the sorcerer emperor had to flee. However, in front of the snow demon's true body, no one could escape. The snow demon's true body stretched out her right hand towards the sky and grabbed with her 5 fingers. The entire world was instantly imprisoned by her, and those who wanted to escape all flew towards her involuntarily. "Master, save me!" Man Kuang cried out in an extremely unbearable manner. As for the mysterious snake emperor, the flying tiger emperor, and the others, they also cried out in fear. "Why aren't you making a move?" Seeing this scene, the nine-tailed fox emperor in the distant sky became anxious. Sigh. Ji Fei sighed. The next moment, he stretched out his right hand and pressed down. Then, the power that belonged to the snow demon's true body on the sorcerer emperor, Man Kuang, and the others who were flying towards the snow demon's true body disappeared. Then, They directly fell from the sky and smashed onto the ground, looking extremely wretched. "You're finally coming out." The snow demon's true body suddenly turned around and looked in the direction where Jiu Fei was. The next moment, the snow demon's true body instantly disappeared from where she was. When she reappeared, she was already standing in front of Jiu Fei. "It's really you." When the snow demon's true body saw the nine-tailed fox emperor hiding behind Jiu Fei, her eyes instantly lit up. "So what if it's me?" Jiu Fei said indifferently. "The one who destroyed my clone was also you." The snow demon's true body said indifferently. "Yeah, since you already know, why are you asking?" Jiu Fei said disapprovingly. "Do you know the consequences of destroying my clone?" The snow demon's true body's tone was extremely cold and emotionless. I'm really curious about the consequences." Jiu Fei stood with his hands behind his back, not taking it seriously at all. "Very well, I'll let you know what the consequences are right now," the snow demon's true body said as she smashed a fist towards Jiu Fei. At the level of the snow demon's true body's cultivation, the power of a casual punch was not to be underestimated. Jiu Fei waved his right hand and sent the nine-tailed fox emperor behind him into the distance. He then reached out with his left hand and directly grabbed at the snow demon's true body's fist. His grab seemed ordinary, but it caught the fist of the snow demon's true body in an instant. He only felt that the snow demon's fist was soft and boneless. An icy chill came from her fist, and he felt as though he had grabbed a piece of ice that emitted extreme cold air. In just an instant, a layer of frost appeared on Jiu Fei's left hand, and the ice and snow spread towards his forearm. Jiu Fei snorted coldly and shook his left arm. The layer of frost on his hand was directly shattered by a burst of power from his hand. This burst of power caused even the snow demon's true body to involuntarily take 2 steps back. What? Chapter 5377. In the minor void paradise, Jiu Fei had no choice but to act. If he didn't act now, the Sorcerer King and the others would be in trouble. Jiu Fei's attack forced the snow demon's real body to take 2 steps back. This surprised the snow demon's real body because no one had ever been able to force her back before. Weren't the 5 Emperor Realm experts as weak as ants when they encountered the snow demon's real body? The reason why the 5 Emperor Realm experts were able to leave the culmination snow mountain was because the snow demon's real body let them go. Otherwise, the barbarian king and the others wouldn't have been able to leave the culmination snow mountain. The snow demon's real body could easily kill the barbarian king and the others. The snow demon's real body was the ruler of the culmination snow mountain. Everything was under her control, but she stayed at the peak of the mountain all year round, trying to understand the secrets of the copper gate of heaven and earth. If Jiu Fei hadn't killed one of her avatars, she wouldn't have left the mountain. "Alright, it's been a long time since someone fought me. Today, I'll fight to my heart's content." Although the snow demon's real body was a woman, she was very strong. Being forced back 2 steps by Jiu Fei directly ignited her fighting spirit. "You are also the strongest opponent I've ever met in the Void Realm." Jiu Fei looked at the snow demon's real body calmly. "Then let's fight." As the snow demon's real body spoke, snow began to fall from the sky. Countless snowflakes fell from the sky, enveloping the entire world in snowflakes. "What's this?" Jiu Fei frowned. In the next moment, a snowflake landed on his hand. Then, a snowflake appeared and pierced through his palm. "What?" With a thought from Jiu Fei, a world of divine light emerged from his body and blocked the snowflakes falling from the sky. Good heavens, Jiu Fei was truly shocked. A small snowflake could actually pierce through his palm. One should know that his martial body was the everlasting martial body. At this time, countless snowflakes had already enveloped Jiu Fei. However, the snowflakes could no longer hurt Jiu Fei. They were all blocked by the divine light around him. Although the snowflakes contained great power, they could not penetrate Jiu Fei's divine light. At this time, Jiu Fei's hand that was pierced by the snowflakes was healing at a speed visible to the naked eye. The snow demon's true form flashed forward and punched Jiu Fei's protective divine light. Bam! In the next moment, countless snowflakes flew everywhere, and Ji Yufei's protective divine light violently shook. Countless cracks actually appeared on it, as if it could collapse at any moment. Although the punch from the snow demon's true form failed to shatter Ji Yufei's protective divine light, it sent Ji Yufei flying hundreds of miles away, directly smashing into a mountain peak. The Shaman Emperor and the others who were watching the battle from afar were all stunned when they saw this scene. Could it be that even Ji Yufei wasn't a match for this snow demon's true form? How could this be possible? If even Ji Yufei wasn't a match for this snow demon's true form, then they would also be finished. Master, why don't we escape first? The nine-tailed fox emperor appeared beside the shaman emperor and directly transmitted her voice to him. What? Escape alone? That's too disloyal. The shaman emperor directly shook his head. No, master, if we stay here, we will only distract Lord Ji Yufei, the nine-tailed fox emperor hurriedly explained. At this time, the shaman emperor and the nine-tailed fox emperor's lives were linked together. If the shaman emperor died, then the nine-tailed fox emperor would also be buried with him. However, if the nine-tailed fox emperor died, it wouldn't affect the shaman emperor. Because the shaman emperor was the master, and the nine-tailed fox emperor was the servant. On the surface, the nine-tailed fox emperor wanted the shaman emperor to leave, for the shaman emperor's sake, but in reality, she wanted to escape. Because if they didn't escape now, when the snow demon's true form really defeated Ji Yufei, even if they wanted to escape, they probably wouldn't be able to. When the shaman emperor heard the nine-tailed fox emperor's words, he couldn't help but have a thought. If he stayed here, he might really distract Ji Yufei. To Ji Yufei, this wouldn't benefit him at all. I can't tell that a woman like you has such great strength. A figure dashed towards the snow demon's true form from 100 miles away. Refining heaven and earth. The snow demon's true form didn't even bother talking nonsense with Ji Yufei, and struck out with her palm. This palm of hers actually struck out with the 4 destructive powers of earth, water, fire, and wind. Even the void was torn apart, and the 4 destructive powers shrouded Ji Yufei directly. Haha, you want to refine heaven and earth? This bit of power won't do. Ji Yufei laughed out loud. Since you want to refine heaven and earth, then I'll devour heaven and earth. As Ji Yufei spoke, he opened his mouth and inhaled, and the 4 destructive powers that shrouded him were immediately devoured into his body. In just a flick of a finger, Ji Yufei devoured the 4 destructive powers struck out by the snow demon's true form cleanly. The snow demon's true form was truly shocked. This fella could actually devour her power? This was something that had never happened before. There had never been anyone who could directly devour her own power. This fella called Ji Yufei was the first. Sigh, it's not enough to fill the gaps between my teeth. Is there more? Continue. Ji Yufei licked his lips and said, as if he hadn't had enough. What? At this moment, even though the snow demon's true form was an icy beauty, she was also enraged. Not enough to fill the gaps between your teeth. The snow demon's true form was enraged. A powerful force spread out from her body, causing the entire world to tremble. The void around Ji Yufei's body actually shattered. I'm going to smack you into the primal chaos. The snow demon's true form struck out with another palm strike towards Ji Yufei. What? Ji Yufei looked at the surrounding void shattering and couldn't help but be taken aback. Then, the snow demon's true form struck out. Boom. With a muffled sound, Ji Yufei and the void around him were smacked into the primal chaos by the snow demon's true form. Then, the shattered void quickly repaired itself. It seemed like Ji Yufei was really trapped in the primal chaos. You come in too. At this moment, a divine chain directly rushed out of the primal chaos and immediately wrapped around the waist of the snow demon's true form. Then, it pulled her into the primal chaos. Damn it. The snow demon's true form was shocked and angry. She waved her hand and cut off the divine chain around her waist. Then, she rushed towards the closing void. If she got lost in the primal chaos, even if she wanted to get out, it would be a little troublesome. Haha, want to leave? Let's just play here. As Ji Yufei spoke, he had already arrived in front of Snow Yarrow's true body. His first move was the 5 elements fist. The power of the 5 elements erupted from his fist, as if it was splitting the heavens and earth. With one punch, the surrounding billowing primal chaos was dispersed. After the primal chaos was dispersed, endless darkness and nothingness appeared. This kind of darkness and nothingness meant that there was nothing. And the primal chaos was born from nothingness. Preposterous. Chapter 5378. Naturally, there was nothing in the void. Therefore, Gu Fei and the snow demon's true body were unable to absorb the spirit qi of heaven and earth from their surroundings. Therefore, once their essence qi was exhausted, it could not be replenished from the outside world. However, this situation was not difficult for Gu Fei because he had an inner world that could continuously provide him with spirit qi of heaven and earth. Gu Fei's inner world was now infinitely close to the real great heaven and earth. The spirit qi of heaven and earth was extremely dense. Even if he and the snow demon's true body fought in the void for decades, it would not be a problem. However, the battle between Gu Fei and the snow demon's true body could not possibly last that long. 5-element fist. Gu Fei immediately used his best fist technique. Rumble, as he punched out, the violent power of the 5 elements erupted from his fist and directly surged towards the snow demon's true body opposite him. 9th Heaven Frost Palm. The snow demon's true body roared angrily as its palm gently met Gu Fei's fist force. An extremely cold palm force erupted from the snow demon avatar's palm, and Gu Fei's 5 elements fist force immediately froze, as if it had been frozen. Boom! The next moment, Gu Fei's 5-element fist force directly exploded and dissipated into nothingness. Huh! Gu Fei's heart trembled. This girl's palm technique was very powerful. He quickly retreated, but he was still swept by the snow demon's palm force. A layer of frost immediately appeared on his body, and a cold aura invaded his body. With a thought, Gu Fei's essence qi in his body was vast, and it directly forced out the cold aura that had invaded his body. Even the layer of frost on his body melted and disappeared. You have ice, and I have fire. Gu Fei shouted. The next moment, a wave of pure yang essence qi immediately spread from his body. His entire body seemed to be on fire, and he was enveloped in a divine fire. Pure yang yuan qi spread out from Gu Fei's body, directly dispersing the surrounding cold air. You can actually transform your yuan qi at will? Snow Demon True Body said in shock. She had been in the culmination snow mountain for countless years, but this was the first time she had encountered such a person who could transform his own essence qi at will. The pure yang energy that erupted from Gu Fei's body was the nemesis of her 9th heaven ice palm. You should also try my pure yang raging fire fist. Gu Fei shouted and directly punched the snow demon's real body. Monstrous pure yang true fire erupted from his fist and swept through the void. It also submerged the snow demon's true body in the sea of pure yang true fire. However, the next moment, the surging pure yang real fire was frozen. To be exact, it was frozen. The next moment, the frozen pure yang real fire began to collapse, and a figure walked out of it step by step. Gu Fei stared at the figure, and his pupils involuntarily shrank. He saw that the snow demon's real body was holding a bead in her hand, and endless cold air was emitted from the bead, freezing everything. Ice Soul Divine Bead. Gu Fei was a little surprised. This kind of divine item was extremely rare. He had only heard of it, but had never seen it before. Who would have thought that today, he would actually see the Ice Soul Divine Bead in the hands of the snow demon's real body? The Ice Soul Divine Bead was a top divine item, a primordial treasure. After being refined by the snow demon's real body, the power of the Ice Soul Divine Bead was even more amazing. No wonder it could even freeze pure yang real fire. At this time, Gu Fei knew that the snow demon's real body was really difficult to deal with, and she was a good opponent. Seal. At this time, the snow demon's real body directly activated the Ice Soul Divine Bead in her hand, and an unimaginably powerful cold air immediately erupted from the Ice Soul Divine Bead, instantly enveloping the void. Even Gu Fei could not escape, and directly turned into an ice sculpture, floating in the void. Die. The snow demon's real body took a step forward, and instantly appeared in front of Gu Fei, and then threw a punch. Bam! The snow demon's real body did not hesitate, and fiercely punched the frozen Ji Yufei. The next moment, the thick ice on Ji Yufei's body immediately cracked. In the next moment, Ji Yufei's whole body, together with the ice on his body, suddenly exploded, turning into countless tiny fragments. However, there was no blood splattering out of these fragments. Hair! The snow demon's real body was taken aback. At this time, the fragments actually disappeared, and a figure appeared silently behind the snow demon's real body. Then, she stretched out her right hand and grabbed the snow demon's real body's neck. The snow demon's real body seemed to sense it, and instantly disappeared into the void. Interesting. Ji Yufei grinned. This snow demon's real body was really capable. The next moment, Ji Yufei only felt a chill, and a thick layer of ice appeared on his body, directly sealed by the snow demon's real body with the power of the Ice Soul Divine Bead. Then, the snow demon's real body appeared again, and directly punched the sealed Ji Yufei into pieces. However, in just an instant, Ji Yufei's body was reconstructed, and it was still full of primordial qi, without any damage at all. This made the snow demon's real body inexplicably shocked. How is this possible? Looking at Ji Yufei, who had condensed his body, the snow demon's real body was really a little confused. This guy simply had an immortal body. How was he supposed to play? There's no way to play. If the other party doesn't die, then I will die. Thinking of this, the snow demon's real body broke out in a cold sweat. She thought that she had an immortal body, but who would have thought that Ji Yufei also had an immortal body? In this battle, probably no one could do anything to the other. Why aren't you attacking? Ji Yufei looked at the snow demon's real body in front of him proudly. His infinite martial body was immortal, and now that he had recovered his peak cultivation, it was impossible for the snow demon to kill him. However, it seemed that he couldn't kill the snow demon's real body either. The other party was holding the Ice Soul Divine Bead, which was extraordinary. Neither of us can do anything to the other, so let's just forget about it. You destroyed my incarnation. The snow demon's real body said coldly. That's a good idea, let's do it like that. Ji Yufei nodded. The snow demon's real body was also an infinite prime. It was not easy for two supreme existences of the infinite prime to determine a winner. The snow demon's real body didn't want to waste any more time with Ji Yufei. Even Ji Yufei didn't expect the snow demon's real body to stop. At this time, the void of the minor void paradise had already recovered, and they seemed to be trapped in the chaotic void. Why don't you open the passage and let us out? Ji Yufei placed his hands behind his back and said calmly. The snow demon's real body was speechless. You can also break the void and enter the minor void paradise. However, the snow demon's real body couldn't be bothered to talk nonsense with Ji Yufei. She pointed a finger, and the void shattered, creating a large hole in the chaotic void. Chapter 5379. Ji Yufei's limitless martial body was unimaginably powerful. His entire body was a humanoid supreme weapon. Even if his martial body was destroyed by the snow demon's true body, he could still reconstruct his martial body in an instant without any damage. In this way, the snow monster really could not do anything to Ji Yufei. On the other hand, the snow demon wielded a heaven-defying treasure like the Ice Soul Pearl. She was an infinite prime, so it would not be easy for Ji Yufei to kill her. Therefore, the battle between Ji Yufei and the snow demon's true body was destined to have no ending. Unless Ji Yufei really fought with the snow monster, he would have a chance to kill the snow monster. However, Ji Yufei did not want to fight with the snow monster. After all, the relationship between the two had not reached the point where they could not live under the same sky. The snow monster's goal was actually very simple. She had only lost one of her clones to Ji Yufei. She could make countless clones like that. It would be best if she could kill Ji Yufei. However, if Ji Yufei was too strong and she could not kill him, it did not matter. At this time, they all felt that there was no reason to continue the battle, so they stopped. The snow demon's true body pointed out with a finger and directly broke through the boundary of the little void paradise. After that, he took a step forward and directly left this chaotic place. Ji Yufei also took a step and entered the minor void paradise. He did not want to stay here. At this time, The Sorcerer King and the Nine-Tailed Fox Emperor were waiting anxiously. When they saw the snow demon's true body walk out of the primal chaos void, they were shocked. They thought that they were really going to die this time. Just as the Shaman Emperor, the Nine-Tailed Demon Fox Emperor and the others were in extreme despair, another figure walked out from the huge hole in the void. The person who walked out of the void was none other than Gu Fei. The snow monster sneered and was about to leave. "Wait, why are you walking so fast?" Gu Fei stopped the snow demon's true form. "Is there anything else?" The snow demon true body frowned and glanced at Gu Fei. "Do you know where the Heaven and Earth Copper Gate is?" Gu Fei asked. Hearing this, the snow demon true body's heart stirred. These people were also going to find the Copper Gate of Heaven and Earth. "Of course I know. There's nothing on this snowy mountain that I don't know," the snow demon true body said proudly. "Haha, that's good, then can you take us to the Copper Gate of Heaven and Earth?" "You want to find the Copper Gate of Heaven and Earth?" The snow demon's true body pretended to be shocked. "That's right. If you can bring us there, I'll give you a drop of the immortal godly medicine. How about it?" Gu Fei said as he looked into the eyes of the snow demon's true form. "All right." The snow demon true body pondered for a moment before agreeing. "There's no time to lose. Let's go now." Gu Fei couldn't wait any longer because he had been in the Void Realm for a long time. He missed his family and brothers. Being trapped in this godforsaken place like the Void Realm, Gu Fei was really depressed. "All right." The snow demon true body did not hesitate and directly led the way. Gu Fei and the others followed closely behind Gu Fei. When they were out of the minor void paradise, with a thought from Gu Fei, the entire minor void paradise disappeared and was kept by Gu Fei. Now that Gu Fei had control over the boundary bead, it was as easy as flipping his palm for him to keep the minor void paradise. Seeing this scene, everyone was dumbfounded. Even the world-suppressing tool's soul was dumbfounded. Its master was too amazing. He refined the boundary bead in such a short time? Because only after refining the boundary bead could he keep the minor void paradise. The minor void paradise was now Gu Fei's. The Witch Emperor, the Nine-Tailed Demon Fox Emperor, and even the Snow Demon True Body were extremely depressed. If it was the Snow Demon True Body, she would be so depressed that she almost vomited blood. The Snow Demon True Body had been searching for this minor void paradise for countless years. Who would have thought that the minor void paradise would be taken away by someone right after she found it? At this time, Gu Fei activated the heaven and earth power of the minor void paradise to protect himself. The heaven and earth power of the minor void paradise isolated the heaven and earth laws of the void realm. This way, Gu Fei's infinite prime cultivation was no longer suppressed. This way, he no longer had to fear anyone in the void realm. It didn't matter whether he went to the Copper Gate of Heaven and Earth or not. He could directly go to the heavenly race and find Yuxian to open the teleportation formation to leave the void realm and return to the eternal world, the primogenitor's realm, or even the human realm. He didn't know how the human realm was now. There was also the heaven realm. Was the old tortoise doing well in the heaven realm? Ever since Gu Fei broke the super formation between the human realm and the heaven realm, the extreme Tao Supremes could openly appear in the human realm and the heaven realm. Fortunately, Old Tortoise and the others had also broken through to the extreme Tao realm and had the ability to protect themselves. Yang and Jiu Ling, the mother and daughter, also had the eternal Tao treasure that he had left behind to protect themselves. Even the eternal realm experts in the eternal world couldn't do anything to them for a while. It was time to go back. After being away for so long, Gu Fei couldn't help but miss his daughter, Jiu Ling, and his wife, Yang. The two of them were the most important people to Gu Fei in this world. How were Gu Fei's disciples? It seemed like it was time to gather all his disciples. With his current cultivation, wouldn't it be as easy as flipping his hand to gather his disciples? He even had 3 disciples in the Void Realm. However, he also had many enemies. Yuan Jiyu was even more mysterious and his real body had never appeared. Until now, Gu Fei hadn't seen Yuan Gu's real body. This was definitely a hidden danger for Gu Fei. There were also the remnants of the heavenly yarrow and those fellows in the eternal world. The peerless eternal stage existences of eternal world were not to be trifled with. That was especially true for the eternal demon clan. Gu Fei had killed off one of their strongest patriarchs. If those fellows were to enter the human plane, Gu Fei's disciples and friends would be in big trouble. However, there was no hurry to go back. Gu Fei wanted to see what the so-called Copper Gate of Heaven and Earth was. It could actually attract the 5 sovereigns of the Void Realm to risk climbing the culmination snow mountain. Under the lead of the Snow Yarrow's real body, they quickly appeared at the summit of the snowy mountain and arrived before the Copper Gate of Heaven and Earth. When Gu Fei saw the Copper Gate of Heaven and Earth, he was somewhat dumbfounded. Wasn't this just an ordinary copper gate? What secret was hidden on it? Of course, the Copper Gate was very old. But what was the point of being old? However, what were those spots on the Copper Gate? Gu Fei noticed that there were many dark brown things on the Copper Gate. What were those things? Could they be bloodstains? Gu Fei mumbled to himself. Bloodstains. Chapter 5380. In Gu Fei's eyes, the Heaven and Earth Copper Gate was nothing special. However, he discovered traces on the Heaven and Earth bronze door. It looked like traces of blood splattering on it, but the Heaven and Earth bronze door had existed for too long. The marks on the Heaven and Earth Copper Gate were already blurred. There's really blood on the gate. Snow True Body exclaimed in shock. How would I know? I'm just saying. Gu Fei shrugged. What? Just saying. Snow True Body was speechless. This fella was really unreliable. So the gate is only SOSO. Gu Fei was a little disappointed. This copper door was embedded in the stone wall, so how was he supposed to open it? This was the dream of countless experts in the Void Realm. Legend has it that there was a world without death behind the gate. For countless years, the Void World's rulers had wanted to open the Heaven and Earth Copper Gate, but no one had succeeded. Even a being like the Snow Demon True Body could not understand the secrets of the Copper Gate of Heaven and Earth. But now, Gu Fei was not interested in this secret. This was because he had already regained his infinite prime cultivation. As long as he carried the Realm Pearl with him, he would be able to resist the laws of Heaven and Earth in the Void Realm. As long as he could resist the laws of Heaven and Earth of the Void Realm, Gu Fei would be able to ignore them. Only SOSO? The Snow Demon True Body was speechless. It had guarded the Copper Gate of Heaven and Earth for countless years just to understand its secrets. She did not stop others from coming because she knew that just because she couldn't understand it didn't mean others couldn't. If someone else managed to comprehend it, it wouldn't be difficult for them to control that person with their cultivation and battle prowess. Therefore, if others were to learn the secret of the Copper Gate of Heaven and Earth, it would be the same as her learning the secret. This was also the reason why the Snow True Body did not stop others from climbing to the peak of the snow mountain to find the gate. When those who entered the snow mountain could not find the gate, she would often send out clones to guide them in the dark so that they could find the gate. However, everything that the Snow Demon's True Body had done was not enough to obtain what she wanted. TSK, there is only one eternal and undying world, and that is the limitless realm. I don't care what secrets this broken copper door holds. That is not my goal. Gu Fei said disdainfully. What? Limitless realm? What kind of world was that? The creatures there are immortal? The Snow Demon True Body exclaimed. At her level of cultivation, she already had an immortal body. However, she was not truly immortal, because experts like Gu Fei could still threaten her. What she lacked now was a world where she could live forever. The ethereal extent was too small. The Snow Demon True Body stayed in the Void Realm for only one purpose, and that was to unravel the secrets of the Copper Gate of Heaven and Earth. But now, after hearing Gu Fei's words, she suddenly felt that the secret of the Heaven and Earth Copper Gate was not that important. Wasn't the limitless realm that Gu Fei mentioned the place she wanted to go? You know how to get to the limitless realm? Snow Demon True Body hurriedly asked. What do you think? Gu Fei pretended to be mysterious. You must know. Do you want to go to the limitless realm? Snow Demon True Body said excitedly. This is my secret, Why should I tell you? Ji Fei said proudly. At this time, this fella actually came to beg him. At this time, the nine-tailed demon fox emperor was standing in front of the heaven and earth copper gate. She reached out her hand and touched the heaven and earth copper gate. She had stayed in the culmination snow mountain for countless years, but today was the first time she saw the legendary heaven and earth copper gate. Because of the existence of the snow demon true body, the nine-tailed demon fox emperor had never come here before. Although the snow demon true body allowed emperors from outside to enter the mountain, she prohibited the native creatures from reaching the peak. Actually, the snow demon true body really did not put the nine-tailed demon fox emperor in her eyes. What's going on? The nine-tailed demon fox emperor suddenly exclaimed. What's wrong? Ji Fei and the witch emperor were shocked by the nine-tailed demon fox emperor. My hand. The nine-tailed demon fox emperor was incomparably terrified. Her hand was actually being sucked in by the heaven and earth copper gate. She desperately tried to retract her right hand, but her right hand seemed to be attached to the heaven and earth copper gate. No matter how she tried to circulate her mystic arts, it was useless. It's sucking my essence chi, the nine-tailed demon fox emperor exclaimed. She felt her own essence chi endlessly surging towards the heaven and earth copper gate, scaring her out of her wits. The essence chi in her body was already out of control. Very quickly, the nine-tailed demon fox emperor became weak. Even Ji Fei was shocked. This snow demon true body definitely knew that the heaven and earth copper gate was very dangerous, but she actually did not warn them. What was the snow demon true body doing? Was she trying to trick this daddy? Ji Fei was displeased. Sever your arm. The snow demon true body shouted. What? Everyone was shocked. At this time, the nine-tailed demon fox emperor's left hand chopped fiercely on her right forearm. Catcher. The sound of bones breaking could be heard. There was a flash of blood. The nine-tailed demon fox emperor had actually chopped off her own forearm. She stumbled backwards and sat down on the snow. Her right forearm had already been sucked into the heaven and earth copper gate. One could see with the naked eye that the nine-tailed demon fox emperor's forearm was rapidly shrinking, turning into a bag of bones. When the nine-tailed demon fox emperor's forearm's essence chi was completely absorbed by the heaven and earth copper gate, the forearm actually turned into dust. Seeing this, everyone could not help but be shocked. Even Ji Fei was in disbelief. This unassuming bronze gate could actually devour the essence chi of living beings. What was going on? Was the heaven and earth copper gate actually alive? With a thought, Ji Fei directly released the world-suppressing treasure's soul. This guy looked around as soon as it came out. Don't look around, come and see what this thing is. Ji Fei pointed at the bronze gate on the stone wall. What is this? Gate. Very familiar, isn't this the gate of Old Master's secluded cultivation? Why would it appear here? The world-suppressing treasure's soul was suddenly shocked. Could it be that there was a problem with Old Master's cultivation? The world-suppressing treasure's soul muttered to itself. A gate of secluded cultivation? Hearing this, Ji Fei and the snow demon true body were both shocked. At this time, the snow demon true body realized that the heaven and earth copper gate that she had been guarding for countless years was just a gate of someone else's secluded cultivation. Chapter 5381. The world-suppressing weapon soul actually knew the secret of the heaven and earth copper door. This world copper door was just the entrance to a cultivation ground of the original owner of the world-suppressing weapon soul. The world behind the heaven and earth copper door wasn't a world without death. What's going on? Quick, tell me. Ji Fei's curiosity was also piqued by the world-suppressing weapon soul. The original owner of this world-suppressing weapon soul was an extremely powerful existence. The owner of the world-suppressing weapon soul was called Sacred Lord Void Sky. He was an invincible existence that had once walked through every corner of the Void Realm. From the world-suppressing artifact soul, everyone finally had a certain understanding of this mysterious supreme existence. Sacred Lord Void Sky was an expert of the everlasting realm. Even in the everlasting realm, he was an overlord that almost no one was his match. Back then, he accidentally entered the chaotic streams of chaos and came to the Void Realm. Then, this overlord of the everlasting realm was trapped in the void realm for countless years and couldn't return. The era that sacred Lord Void Sky lived in was extremely ancient. At that time, the void realm was still in a desolate era, and not many living beings knew how to cultivate. Therefore, there were almost no extremely powerful living beings in the void realm. Sacred Lord Void Sky could be said to be the ancestor of all living beings in the void realm. This was because he was the one who passed down the cultivation method to the living beings in the void realm. After tens of thousands of years, the living beings in the void realm formed the cultivation world. Countless living beings became stronger through cultivation. During Sacred Lord Void Sky's era, even Yuxian Palace Master Ling Tian, and the limitless Demon Lord were still playing with mud. However, such an invincible existence actually disappeared one day. No one knew where he went. Even the world-suppressing weapon soul didn't know why its owner suddenly disappeared. No one knew where Sacred Lord Void Sky went or if he was still in the void realm. Do you know how to open the heaven and earth copper door? Ji Yufei looked at the world-suppressing weapon soul and asked. Master, don't you know who I am? Of course I know. The world-suppressing weapon soul said proudly. Then why aren't you opening the copper door? Ji Yufei slapped the back of the world-suppressing weapon soul's head. Master, why did you hit me? The realm-suppressing artifact soul rubbed the back of its head and said to Ji Yufei with a gloomy look. What are you waiting for? Ji Yufei raised his hand to hit again. Right away, I'll open this door right away. As the world-suppressing artifact spoke, it directly rushed to the heaven and earth copper gate. The heaven and earth copper door was very strange. It had nearly devoured all the yuan qi of the nine-tailed fox emperor. The nine-tailed demon fox emperor had been forced to cut off her right hand by the heaven and earth copper gate. It wouldn't be easy for her right hand to recover. Right now, the nine-tailed fox emperor was already heavily injured. At this time, no one dared to get too close to the heaven and earth copper gate. Everyone stared at the world-suppressing artifact soul. The realm-suppressing artifact soul formed a seal with both hands, then struck the heaven and earth copper gate on the stone wall. In the next moment, countless ancient and abstruse Dao runes appeared on the copper gate of the world. A powerful ripple of power erupted from the gate. Then, a beam of divine light appeared from inside the heaven and earth copper gate and enveloped the entire heaven and earth copper gate. The heaven and earth copper gate disappeared. At this time, everyone was shocked because they could only see that layer of divine light. The heaven and earth copper gate had already disappeared. Alright, if you guys want to go in and take a look, then go in and take a look. There shouldn't be any danger inside. The world-suppressing artifact soul said to everyone. There shouldn't be any danger. Ji Yufei and the others were speechless when they heard this. Sacred Lord Void Sky was an invincible existence. Even in the limitless realm, she was an overlord. If such a person set up a killer inside, then even Ji Yufei and the snow demon true body would be in danger, let alone the shaman emperor, Man Kuang, the black snake emperor, and the flying tiger emperor. Go in and take a look first. Ji Yufei said to the world-suppressing artifact soul. This. Alright. The world-suppressing artifact soul actually wanted to go in and take a look because it was also very curious about where its original master had gone. Behind this copper gate was a place where Sacred Lord Void Sky cultivated in seclusion. The world-suppressing artifact soul flashed and directly rushed towards the heaven and earth copper gate. It directly entered the ball of divine light as if it had passed through a layer of water membrane. Seeing the world-suppressing artifact soul walk into the ball of divine light, everyone's eyes widened. However, in the next moment, the world-suppressing artifact soul rushed out while screaming. This guy looked like he had been roasted by fire. His white robe had turned into charred black rags that hung on his body. His hair, beard, and eyebrows were all burned off. He looked extremely pathetic. This guy's body was still emitting smoke. F***ck, did you just say that there's no danger inside? Ji Yufei was a little stunned when he saw the world-suppressing artifact soul's pathetic appearance. Everyone else was also dumbfounded. Who knew that the old master had left a ball of divine fire inside? That guy is already psychic. It's not easy to mess with him. The world-suppressing artifact soul said gloomily. Ji Fei was shocked when he heard this. A psychic divine fire? I'll go in and take a look. As Ji Fei spoke, he took a step forward and directly entered the void inside the heaven and earth copper gate. As soon as Ji Fei entered, before he could clearly see the surrounding scenery, he felt a wave of heat hit him in the face. The yuan qi in his body actually showed signs of being ignited. This was not a good thing. Ji Fei's heart trembled. It should be known that once his yuan qi was ignited by the divine fire, his body and soul would be destroyed by the divine fire, and he would die instantly. Ji Fei looked around and saw that everything was in ruins. It was a huge ruin, and there were traces of fire in these ruins. After Ji Fei entered, these fire qi quickly gathered together and formed a human-shaped flame. An infinite-grade divine fire? Ji Fei was taken aback. This flame was actually an infinite-grade divine fire. This kind of divine fire was extremely powerful. Anything that came into contact with it would be burned to ashes. If he could subdue this divine fire, then it would be another trump card for him. A divine fire of this level could hurt him. It was no wonder that the world-suppressing artifact soul had been tortured so badly by this divine fire. Puny human, you actually want to subdue this infinite divine venerate? At this moment, a divine will was transmitted, and a voice directly sounded in Ji Fei's mind. Ayo, you actually know what I'm thinking? Ji Fei said with some surprise. TCH, is it that hard to guess? That guy just wanted to subdue this deity, and now you're here. Don't you also want to subdue this deity? The human-shaped flame sneered. Since you already know, then cut the crap. Are you going to submit yourself or do you want me to do it? Chapter 5382. To think that there would be another world within the copper gates of heaven and earth. But of course, this world wasn't some world without death, nor was it some other world. This was merely a place where the original owner of the world-suppressing weapon soul had secluded himself for cultivation. However, this place had already turned into a pile of rubble. However, this world wasn't small at all. It was a small world of its own. Within this small world, other than the rubble, there was a living being as well. A living being that was born from the unbounded God flame. The true form of this living being was the unbounded God flame. Therefore, this living being was truly strong. Even the world-suppressing weapon soul had to escape in such a wretched state because of this fella. At this moment, Ji Fei was facing off against this humanoid flame. Cut the crap and submit to me obediently. That way, you'll be spared from a round of torture. Ji Fei looked at the humanoid flame and remarked calmly. What did you say? The moment the humanoid flame heard this, it was enraged. To think that this human would want it to submit to him? What a joke. Other than that old man, yours truly had never submitted to anyone. The next moment, a torrential god flame burst forth from the humanoid flame. Instantly, it engulfed the entire place and drowned Ji Fei within it. Chaos reversal. Ji Fei did not dare to delay as he deployed one of the 9 secrets of the immortal path, chaos reversal. The void around his body was contorting. All of the unbounded god flames that were sweeping towards him were blocked by this contorted void, unable to get within 3 feet of his body at all. What? The moment the unbounded god flame saw this, it could not help but feel shocked. To think that this human could defend against its god flames. This was unbelievable. One had to know that the fella from earlier on had escaped in a wretched state after it had released its god flames. However, this human was different. Could his cultivation state be even higher than that fella from earlier on? Yours truly refuses to believe that I can't burn you to death. The unbounded god flame was going all out. An endless amount of unbounded god flames were gathering as a series of fire pillars appeared between the heaven and earth, sweeping out at Ji Fei. Boom. Boom. The entire sea of flames started vibrating. If your flames can even touch my robes, I'll take it as my loss. I'll just pat my bum and get the hell out of here. A wave of spiritual will spread out from Ji Fei's body. How dare you look down on me? The limitless divine flame was enraged, truly enraged. For countless years, there had never been anyone who dared to look down on it like this. Of course, apart from its master. This infinite divine flame was actually a divine flame within Sacred Lord Void Sky's pill furnace. Sacred Lord Void Sky used this infinite divine flame to refine pills. However, Sacred Master Void Sky's cauldron no longer existed. Otherwise, the infinite divine fire wouldn't have escaped and occupied this small world. However, the pillars of fire were shifted away when they were 3 feet in front of Gu Fei. Not a single one of them could touch Gu Fei's clothes. At this moment, Gu Fei was standing with his hands behind his back. He didn't care about the fire pillars that were coming from all directions. That was because the chaotic reversal secret technique could put him in an almost undefeatable position. No matter how fiercely the infinite godly fire attacked, it would be useless. What kind of divine ability is this? The infinite divine flame was enraged. This infinite divine flame was a divine flame within Sacred Lord Void Sky's pill furnace. Naturally, it had witnessed the various mystic skills of Sacred Lord Void Sky. However, the mystic skill displayed by Gu Fei was something that it had never seen or heard of before. Why should I tell you? Gu Fei chuckled. Preposterous. I'll refine you. The infinite divine flame was enraged. The next moment, the pillars of fire that were shooting towards Gu Fei disappeared. All that could be seen was countless divine flames revolving and turning into countless Tao patterns in the shape of flames. A gigantic cauldron appeared in the sky. This cauldron trapped Gu Fei within. Within the cauldron, the infinite divine flame was rumbling. The massive power of the infinite divine flame surged towards Gu Fei from all directions. However, such a strong infinite divine flame couldn't even get close to Gu Fei's body. All of it was blocked 3 feet away from him. How is this possible? The infinite divine flame was completely flabbergasted. This human was practically invincible. No one had ever been able to defend against an attack like this. This was because it was creating Sacred Lord Void Sky's pill furnace. Sacred Lord Void Sky's pill furnace was an unparalleled Tao weapon that could refine anything in this world. However, today, the infinite divine flame was shocked to the extreme. This was because it had met a human that it couldn't refine. At this moment, a figure flashed. Someone else had entered from the outside. A chilling aura spread out in this small world. It was the snow demon True Body. Haha, your nemesis is here. Gu Fei roared out in laughter. What? The infinite divine flame seemed to feel threatened. The moment the snow demon True Body entered, it saw a shocking scene. Gu Fei was trapped by a gigantic cauldron. To think that someone would want to refine Gu Fei. The fire aura that was emitted from the cauldron made the snow demon True Body feel extremely uncomfortable. A sacred pearl appeared above the snow demon True Body's head. An extremely chilling aura erupted from the sacred pearl and enveloped the snow demon True Body. This sacred pearl was the snow demon True Body's ultimate treasure, the Ice Soul Sacred Pearl. This wasn't an ordinary Ice Soul Sacred Pearl. It was a carnate supreme godly item. The chilling aura that erupted from the Ice Soul Sacred Pearl was the nemesis of the infinite divine flame. At the same time, the infinite divine flame True Body also felt extremely uncomfortable. This is the infinite divine flame. If you can subdue it and merge ice and fire, your cultivation will rise to the next level. Gu Fei yelled at the snow demon True Body. The snow demon True Body's heart couldn't help but tremble. What Gu Fei said made sense. If water and fire merged and yin and yang gathered, his cultivation would definitely rise to the next level. However, how could it be easy to subdue this supreme divine flame? If she wasn't careful, she could be refined by this place at any time. I'll go all out. If I succeed, my cultivation will improve greatly. If I fail, I'll run. The snow demon True Body made up her mind. She directly extended her hand and grabbed at the flame demon True Body. You're courting death. The infinite divine flame True Body was furious. In the next moment, the monstrous divine flame swept towards the snow demon True Body. This was a terrifying wave of fire. The snow demon True Body didn't dare to be careless. She hurriedly withdrew her hand. Then, the Ice Soul Sacred Pearl floating above her head vibrated and the chilling aura erupted. The waves of fire that were sweeping towards them actually stopped and were directly sealed by the ice. Even the flame was sealed in ice. One could imagine how terrifying the chilling aura was. The humanoid flame was shocked to see this. Could that thing be the legendary Ice Soul Divine Bead? Chapter 5383. The Ice Soul Divine Pearl was definitely the nemesis of all divine fires. Even the everlasting divine fire was no exception. Of course, the everlasting divine fire was also the nemesis of the Ice Soul Divine Pearl. The two of them countered each other. It was not easy to determine a victor. At that moment, the everlasting divine fire felt threatened by the Ice Soul Divine Pearl. However, the Snow Demon's true body also felt threatened by the everlasting divine fire. The two of them seemed to be born to be enemies. When Ji Fei saw this, he quietly retreated. He was ready to watch the show again. The show was about to start. He was very curious whether the Snow Demon's true body could suppress the everlasting divine fire or whether the everlasting divine fire could defeat the Snow Demon's true body. If the Snow Demon's true body was defeated, it would be fun. At that moment, the two strong cultivators were facing each other. It was like two different worlds of ice and fire. This small world was shaking. Countless Tao patterns appeared everywhere in this small world. They released a strong power of the Great Path and stabilized this small world. This was the formation that Sacred Lord Shu Tian had set up. It protected the entire small world. Otherwise, this small world would have collapsed a long time ago. Rumble, heaven and earth shook. The Snow Demon's true body became blurry. The everlasting divine fire's humanoid flame disappeared into the void. The sky was filled with flames. Even Ji Fei found it difficult to pinpoint the Snow Demon's exact location. There was no suspense. This great battle between infinite powers had begun. Because they were in Sacred Lord Shu Tian's cave, the Snow Demon's true body and the everlasting divine fire did not have any scruples. They attacked with all their might. The monstrous divine fire turned into a hand that was larger than a mountain. It grabbed at the Snow Demon's true body. The powerful fire elemental power spread out. The surrounding void rippled like water. The Snow Demon's true body laughed coldly. In the next moment, an endless power of extreme cold erupted from her body. An ice blade appeared above the Snow Demon's true body's head. Slash. The Snow Demon's true body shouted. She waved her right hand. In the next moment, the ice blade slashed towards the flame hand. Swoosh. It was as if the entire world had been split apart by the Snow Demon's true body. The extremely powerful and extremely cold saber chi spread out, and the big hand formed by the infinite divine fire was directly split in half. As the broadsword fell, the sea of fire formed by the towering divine fire was directly split in half. This, Ji Fei, who was watching from the side, was also a little surprised to see this scene. The battle prowess of the Snow Demon true body was not to be underestimated. At this moment, endless divine flames were gathering, all of them rushing towards the Snow Demon's true body. At the same time, the Ice Soul Pearl hovering above the Snow Demon's head exploded with an unprecedentedly powerful divine light. Everything that was illuminated by the divine light would be frozen in an instant. Not to mention the limitless divine flame, even the void froze in an instant. Boom! A human-shaped flame tore through the void and appeared in front of the Snow Demon's true form in an instant. Then, it threw a punch at the Snow Demon's true form. The snow monster's true form leisurely stretched out its right hand. Bam! The humanoid flame's punch landed on the Snow Demon's right hand. The power of ice and fire instantly collided. A circle of spatial ripples immediately spread out. Good fella, the power of ice and fire surged forth, and Ji Fei had no choice but to retreat far away. Of course, the mighty power of ice and fire couldn't hurt Ji Fei. The two figures moved quickly in the void, and the dull sound of collision rang out continuously. The void trembled. Even with the protection of Sacred Lord Void Sky's formation, countless spatial cracks appeared in this small world. These spatial cracks quickly disappeared. Very quickly, the humanoid flame was blasted away by the Snow Demon's true form. It directly smashed into the ruins below, causing dust to fly everywhere. In the end, The snow demon's true form is still a little stronger. Ji Fei sighed. This limitless divine flame still lacked battle experience. How could it be a match for the snow demon's true form, which had lived for countless years and had experienced hundreds of battles? This limitless divine flame's battle prowess wasn't weak either. Boom! Another loud sound rang out, and the humanoid flame directly rushed out of the ruins. Roar! The humanoid flame roared angrily. In the next moment, endless divine flames erupted from its body and instantly engulfed the entire small world. No one could escape, because there was nowhere to escape to. In just an instant, every inch of the void in the small world was filled with terrifying limitless divine flame. Even the ground was burned red, and the stones turned into magma. Ji Fei had no choice but to use his protective divine light to protect his body. The snow demon's true form had the protection of the ice soul divine pearl, so it was naturally fine. At this moment, countless humanoid flames condensed in the sea of fire. Then, these humanoid flames were like an army that rushed toward the snow demon's true form with earth-shattering killing intent. Although the limitless divine flame was only a wisp of divine flame from Sacred Lord Void Sky's alchemy cauldron, over the countless years, this fire elemental lifeform had also cultivated its own mystical ability. You overestimate yourself. The snow demon's true form didn't care about the limitless divine flame at all. With a single thought, at the next moment, the powerful power of extreme cold turned into countless icy sword lights that pierced out in all directions. Wherever the countless sword lights passed, the humanoid flames that were charging towards them dissipated in the void. The snow demon's true form's sword principle was very strong. Its sword chi was vast and mighty, and more than half of the towering divine flames were actually extinguished. There were even more than 10 sword lights that directly pierced through the front of Ji Fei's body. Ji Fei waved his right hand, and the sharp sword lights that pierced through immediately dissipated in the void. Sword lights of this level naturally couldn't hurt Ji Fei at all. However, the limitless divine flame wasn't so lucky. It was directly injured and fled into the depths of this small world. A streak of fiery light could be seen disappearing from Ji Fei's line of sight. Where do you think you're going? The snow demon's true form wanted to subdue the limitless divine flame because what Ji Fei had said was right. If the power of ice and fire fused, its cultivation would definitely increase greatly. At that time, it would be easy for Ji Fei to subdue it. The snow demon's true form was very ambitious. She actually wanted to subdue Ji Fei because Ji Fei knew how to go to the so-called limitless realm where there was no death. Therefore, the snow demon's true form couldn't let the limitless divine flame escape. When Ji Fei saw the snow demon's true form chasing after it, he thought about it and also chased after it. If the snow demon's true form obtained the limitless divine flame, it wouldn't be a good thing for him, because the snow demon's true form was also a threat. Although the snow demon's true form didn't attack Ji Fei now, that was because the snow demon's true form's cultivation and combat power couldn't suppress Ji Fei. If the snow demon's true form's cultivation and combat power could suppress Ji Fei, she would definitely attack Ji Fei immediately. Chapter 5384. The everlasting divine fire spirit was no match for snow demon's real body, so it fled. This guy was a fire spirit. This small world was only so big, where could it escape to? When Ji Fei chased into the depths of this small world, he saw a shocking scene. He saw a shrine surrounded by divine fire floating in the void. A powerful wave of power that made Ji Fei's heart palpitate was emitted from that shrine. At this moment, a huge flame figure appeared above the shrine, looking down at Snow Demon's real body and Ji Fei. Ha ha! You two actually dared to chase after me, you're simply seeking death. The gigantic flaming figure laughed. So this is your lair? Ji Fei said. Mph, you know too late. The everlasting divine fire spirit sneered. What a powerful fire elemental power. Snow Demon's real body was dumbfounded. The everlasting divine fire condensed in this shrine was really strong. The fire elemental power used by the everlasting divine fire previously was probably not even 1/10 of the power contained in this shrine. At this moment, the everlasting divine fire spirit returned to the shrine and successfully controlled this power. After controlling this power, The everlasting divine fire spirit thought that it could directly crush these two guys in front of it, so it was extremely proud. "You think you've got us?" Ji Fei put his hands behind his back and said indifferently, "If you submit to me, I won't kill you." The everlasting divine fire spirit said proudly. In the eyes of the fire spirit, power was everything. It was confident that with its power, it was enough to torture these two guys. "Ha ha," Ji Fei immediately laughed when he heard this. However, Snow Demon's real body's face was extremely solemn. "What are you laughing at?" The everlasting divine fire spirit was angry. "I'm laughing at you for being an idiot," Ji Fei said. "You're courting death." The fire spirit roared. In the next moment, a huge palm directly slapped towards Ji Fei. Rumble, as the gigantic flaming hand descended, the entire pocket dimension shook. The power of the entire pocket dimension was stirred up. This was the power of the entire pocket dimension, crushing towards Ji Fei. Interesting. As Ji Fei spoke, he extended his right hand and pointed a finger forward. A beam of divine light rushed out from the tip of his finger, directly piercing through the huge flaming hand that was slapping towards him. Then, the entire flaming hand dissipated in the void. "What? How is this possible?" The limitless fire spirit was shocked. The current him was much stronger than before, so why was this guy still able to block his attack? "You held back." The limitless fire spirit was shocked and angry. "What's wrong with me holding back? Didn't you hold back as well?" Ji Fei said disapprovingly. "I'm so angry." The limitless fire spirit roared and attacked again. The entire divine hall began to shake. The light of the fire illuminated the entire place. The temperature of the entire miniature world skyrocketed. It was as if the entire miniature world was being roasted by the fire. Clang, clang. Chains of fire rushed out from the divine hall, directly entangling Ji Fei and the snow demon's true form. This was the power of the divine hall, stirred up by the limitless fire spirit. This was the true power of the infinite realm. Even an ordinary infinite realm cultivator would not be able to withstand it. However, Ji Fei extended his right hand, and a sword appeared in his hand. This was the sword of the stars of the 9 heavens that he had forged. Although it was not a true divine sword, but a divine sword condensed from the power of the Great Path, this was the first and last sword he had forged. That was because this sword was his natal sword artifact. Therefore, when he used a sword, he would subconsciously condense his divine sword. Of course, cultivators did not need a natal sword of the way, because the most powerful sword of a cultivator was themselves. However, Ji Fei was an exception. He had forged a sword of the stars of the 9 heavens. This was a sword of the way that could constantly transform as his cultivation increased. Ji Fei waved the sword of the Great Path in his hand. Clang, clang. The sound of metal colliding rang out. Then, a chain of fire that was entangling him was directly cut by his sword. Ji Fei cut the chain of fire with his sword, then took a step forward and appeared in front of the divine hall in an instant. Breaking extremity fist. The divine sword condensed from the power of the way of the sword in his hand instantly disappeared. Then, he clenched his right hand into a fist and punched at the divine hall. Breaking extremity fist. The moment Ji Fei punched, his battle prowess directly soared, directly breaking through his limit. The power of this fist was so strong that even the snow demon's true form widened his eyes in shock when he saw it. Ji Fei's punch was indomitable. The limitless divine fire that enveloped the entire divine hall was actually dispersed by Ji Fei's punch. The entire divine hall was directly sent flying thousands of meters away. Even the huge flame figure formed by the limitless fire spirit was dispersed. This was simply an invincible punch. The limitless fire spirit was directly stunned by Ji Fei's punch. Damn it! The limitless fire spirit hid in the fire god hall in fear. From the limitless fire spirit's point of view, it was simply unbelievable that Ji Fei could actually shake the fire god hall. One must know that this fire god hall was the alchemy hall of its master, Holy Master Shu Tian. Holy Master Shu Tian refined pills in this fire god hall. The fire god hall was protected by the formation that Holy Master Shu Tian had set up. Ordinary infinite primes would not be able to shake it at all. However, this human actually sent the fire god Hall flying thousands of meters away with a punch. This really frightened the limitless fire spirit. This human was indeed cunning. And just as the limitless fire spirit was still in shock, Ji Fei punched over again. Without any suspense, Ji Fei's punch once again sent the divine Hall flying thousands of meters away. It directly smashed through a mountain peak and then fell to the ground, creating a huge pit. The limitless fire spirit hiding in the fire god Hall was stunned. The limitless fire spirit really did not expect this human to be so strong. Fortunately, this human could not break the defensive formation of the fire god Hall. Otherwise, if this human killed his way into the fire god Hall, then he would be in big trouble. Right now, as long as he hid in the fire god Hall and did not come out, the two fellows outside would not be able to do anything to him. However, at this moment, a big foot descended from the sky. With a boom, it directly stepped on the fire god Hall and directly stomped the fire god Hall into the ground. Seeing this scene, even the snow demon true body was a little speechless. Ji Fei's attack was really unconventional. Is there an end to it? The limitless fire spirit was really angry. He could not afford to offend him, but he could not hide. With just a thought from the limitless fire spirit, the fire god Hall directly became as small as a speck of dust. However, Ji Fei also became smaller than a speck of dust and directly appeared in front of the fire god Hall. What? The limitless fire spirit was shocked. The fire god Hall had already become so small, but this guy could still sense the existence of the fire god Hall. Without saying anything, Ji Fei punched out again. Then, the fire god Hall that had become as small as a speck of dust was once again sent flying. Chapter 5385. The defense of the fire god shrine refined by sacred Lord Shu Tian was naturally very strong. Even if Ji Fei used the full power of the broken extremity fist, he could not break through the defense of the fire god shrine. Moreover, the fire god shrine could change size, hide, and fly. However, even though the limitless fire spirit used all the abilities of the fire god shrine, it still could not get rid of Ji Fei. It was still sent flying by Ji Fei's punches. How is this possible? If the limitless fire spirit was a living being with flesh and blood, it would have vomited blood long ago. This human was really too difficult to deal with. Boom! Ji Fei punched the fire god shrine from the ground into the sky again. The fire god shrine quickly grew bigger like a mountain, covering the entire sky. Roar! An earth-shattering dragon roar sounded. The limitless fire spirit gathered above the fire god shrine and turned into a huge fire dragon that fiercely pounced towards Ji Fei. These fire dragons were many times more powerful than the real Nine Heavens fire dragon. This was because this was a fire dragon formed by the limitless fire spirit. This limitless fire spirit was the most powerful fire in the world. If this kind of fire appeared in the human world or the heavenly realm, the entire world would probably be ignited by this fire and then burned to the ground. However, this was the place where sacred Lord Shu Tian went into seclusion. With the protection of the formation set up by sacred Lord Shu Tian, the power of the limitless fire spirit could not destroy this small world. Kill! An earth-shattering killing intent erupted from the fire god shrine. The entire small world was trembling. 18 huge fire dragons descended from the sky. This scene was extremely shocking. The power of the fire element was unimaginably strong. Kill your head. Ji Fei did nothing. A monstrous devouring power emerged from his body. The 18 fire dragons were all sucked in by this devouring power. The 18 fire dragons rapidly shrank before disappearing into the void, vanishing without a trace. In the fire god shrine, the limitless fire spirit was dumbfounded. His powerful attack was actually dissolved by the opponent so easily. This human was actually devouring the power of the fire divine palace. Even the limitless fire spirit had to be careful when controlling the power of the fire divine shrine, but this guy actually dared to directly devour the power of the shrine. The limitless fire spirit could not help but be dumbfounded. Not bad, let's continue. After devouring the power of the 18 fire dragons, Ji Fei comfortably stretched his body. A faint layer of fire energy emerged from his body and then disappeared. Damn it! The limitless fire spirit was furious. In the next moment, the fire god shrine shook, and an even more powerful formation was activated. A huge shadow stood up from the fire god shrine. When Ji Yufei saw this figure, he couldn't help being startled. It was a faint figure, and as soon as it appeared, he felt his soul tremble. How was this possible? Ji Yufei hadn't felt this way for a long time, because there was no one in this world that could make him feel this way. But today, at this moment, he felt this way again. This feeling, which he hadn't felt for a long time, made him very uncomfortable. "You're dead this time, haha," the limitless fire spirit laughed crazily. The snow demon's true body, who was watching from afar, was also shocked to the extreme. The aura that erupted from this figure was too shocking, it was simply invincible. "Why did you wake me up?" The faint and illusory figure actually spoke, and a wave of divine will directly spread out from this figure. Master. The limitless fire spirit in the fire god shrine was scared silly. It didn't know that it had actually released a clone of its master by activating this formation. Sacred Lord Void Sky. Ji Yufei was also shocked. This was actually a clone of Sacred Lord Void Sky. How was this possible? Didn't this Sacred Lord Void Sky disappear for countless years? Why did he leave a clone in the fire god shrine? Although this was only a clone of Sacred Lord Void Sky, it gave people a feeling that it was extremely powerful. Who destroyed my place of seclusion? The clone of Sacred Lord Void Sky said indifferently. Master, it was you who destroyed this place. The limitless fire spirit said carefully. The clone of Sacred Lord Void Sky was stunned. His clone had been sealed in the fire god shrine all this time, so he didn't know what had happened outside. The illusory figure was speechless. I can't sense my main body. I don't know what happened. The illusory figure said in a low voice. This clone was just a divine will clone. It didn't have a flesh and blood body at all. For a divine will to exist for countless years, this Sacred Lord Void Sky was really heaven-defying. One had to know that a divine will clone that left the main body couldn't exist for too long. This was because the essence of the divine will clone couldn't be supported by the essence of the main body. It would continuously disappear until it completely disappeared. Even if this divine will clone of Sacred Lord Void Sky was sealed in the fire god shrine, it couldn't exist forever. However, from Ji Yufei's point of view, this divine will clone of Sacred Lord Void Sky was really strong. Even he could feel an extremely dangerous aura from this divine will clone. Ji Yufei really couldn't imagine how this fellow could be so strong. Just a divine will clone could fight against a true infinity stage powerhouse. If it was before, Ji Yufei wouldn't dare to believe it. But now, he had no choice but to believe it. Master, these two fellows broke in and destroyed everything. They even wanted to take away your shrine. The limitless fire spirit directly complained to the divine will clone of Sacred Lord Void Sky. This fellow, hearing this, Ji Yufei's expression immediately became solemn. The limitless fire spirit's cultivation wasn't good, but he was very good at complaining. The snow demon true body was also shocked. She directly appeared beside Ji Yufei in a flash. The divine will clone in front of them was really strong. It seemed that this time, she had to work together with Ji Yufei. If they didn't work together, they probably wouldn't be able to defeat this divine will clone. However, even if they worked together, they might not be able to defeat this divine will clone of Sacred Lord Void Sky. Is that so? Two sharp gazes shot out from the illusory figure above the fire god shrine and directly swept towards Ji Yufei and Snow Demon's true body. Senior, don't tell me you believe this fellow's words. Ji Yufei said to the divine will clone of Sacred Lord Void Sky in a neither servile nor overbearing manner. Whether I believe it or not is up to me. However, it is a fact that you guys broke in here. Sacred Lord Void Sky's voice directly sounded in Ji Yufei's mind. So we're going to fight? Ji Yufei said indifferently as he met Sacred Lord Void Sky's gaze. The divine will clone of Sacred Lord Void Sky sneered and directly grabbed towards Ji Yufei and the snow demon true body. Chapter 5386. Just as Ji Yufei was sending the fire god palace flying with one punch after another, the limitless fire spirit finally couldn't help but open a very important array. Who would have thought that after the limitless fire spirit opened the array, a divine sense clone would jump out of the fire god palace? This divine sense clone was Sacred Master Void Sky's divine sense clone. Sacred Master Void Sky was an extremely ancient existence. He was much older than Yu Xian of the Sky Race and the Palace Lord of the Ling Tian Palace. Sacred Master Void Sky had appeared in the Void Realm when it was still in the Desolate Era. At that time, all living beings in the Void Realm didn't know the true path of cultivation. They could only instinctively absorb the spiritual energy of heaven and earth. Therefore, from a certain perspective, Sacred Lord Void Sky was the one who started the cultivation era in the Void Realm. The true cultivation techniques came from him. If it wasn't for Sacred Master Void Sky, who knew how long it would take for the Void Realm to enter the true cultivation era? Even though the guy that jumped out of the Fire God Palace was just a divine sense clone of Sacred Master Void Sky, it was still extremely powerful. Even Ji Fei felt threatened. At this moment, Sacred Master Void Sky's divine sense clone attacked Ji Fei and the Snow Demon True Body. Boom boom boom. The huge palm instantly covered the entire sky and sealed off all the paths of retreat for Ji Fei and the Snow Demon True Body. Ji Fei and the Snow Demon True Body had no chance of dodging Sacred Master Void Sky's divine sense clone. Since they couldn't dodge it, they could only fight it out. Ji Fei flipped his right hand and slapped upwards. Buzz! The sky shook, and a huge palm appeared above Ji Fei's head. It went straight towards Sacred Master Void Sky's divine sense clone. Boom! The two huge hands collided in an instant. In the next moment, a circle of spatial ripples visible to the naked eye spread out in all directions. Ji Fei's huge palm was directly destroyed by Sacred Master Void Sky's divine sense clone. However, with Ji Fei's palm blocking it, the Snow Demon True Body took this opportunity to rush out. So unloyal? Ji Fei was dumbfounded. Boom! Sacred Lord Void Sky's spiritual will formed a huge hand and slapped Ji Fei into the ground. Smoke rose from the ground, and a huge palm print appeared on the ground. At the center of the palm print was a person. How disloyal, running away alone. Ji Fei was depressed. Not only did the Snow Demon True Body not have any sense of loyalty, it was simply immoral. I thought you would be able to block this palm. In the distant sky, the Snow Demon's True Body said helplessly. Ji Fei was about to vomit blood. Who knew that you wouldn't even be able to block a single palm from him? The Snow Demon True Body spoke again. Ji Fei was so angry that he spat out a mouthful of blood. Are you deliberately trying to piss me off? Ji Fei crawled up from the ground and shook off the dust on his body. At this moment, he was covered in dust and looked extremely pathetic. Although he was slapped into the ground by Sacred Lord Void Sky's spiritual will, he wasn't injured. One must know that he was a martial artist, and the strongest weapon of a martial artist was their martial physique. This was what Ji Fei relied on. The strength of the infinite martial physique wasn't something ordinary people could imagine. Hey, you're actually fine? Seeing Ji Fei stand up from the ground and pat the dust off his body as if nothing had happened, even the spiritual will of Sacred Lord Void Sky was a little surprised. TSK, you want to injure me with this level of strength? You must be joking. Ji Fei was very confident. Alright, I'll play with you then. The spiritual will of Sacred Lord Void Sky directly rushed out of the Fire God Palace and instantly appeared in front of Ji Fei. So fast. Ji Fei was shocked. Before he could react, the spiritual will of Sacred Lord Void Sky's fist had already smashed into his chest. It wasn't that he didn't want to dodge, but the spiritual will of Sacred Lord Void Sky actually controlled the time and space around him. Therefore, his reaction was always a beat slower than the spiritual will of Sacred Lord Void Sky. Bam! With a muffled sound, Ji Fei felt as if he had been hit by a divine mountain and was directly sent flying. Ji Fei was directly sent flying for hundreds of miles. Boom! He directly smashed through a mountain and fell to the ground. He rolled on the ground for more than 10 miles before finally falling to the ground. Damn it! Ji Fei was lying on the ground, extremely depressed. Why is the spiritual will of Sacred Lord Void Sky so powerful? I don't even have the ability to fight back. Is this really just a spiritual will of Sacred Lord Void Sky? Seeing that Ji Yufei was actually sent flying by the spiritual will of Sacred Lord Void Sky, the snow demon's true body was really stunned. This was because she had a certain understanding of Ji Yufei's cultivation and combat strength. Ji Yufei was a true infinite prime. How dare you? Ji Yufei was angry. He was really angry. He stood up from the ground. However, when he stood up, he suddenly saw a face appear in front of him. This face was almost touching his face. Damn! Ji Yufei retreated rapidly. However, it was too late. The spiritual will of Sacred Lord Void Sky's fist smashed into his chest again. Without any suspense, Ji Yufei was once again sent flying. The power of Sacred Lord Void Sky's spiritual will was simply too strong. It was simply unstoppable and almost indestructible. Ji Yufei was stunned by this fellow's attack. He flew all the way back, fell to the ground, and rolled all the way. Everywhere he passed, everything he touched was directly smashed by him. Sigh. Ji Yufei lay on the ground and ate the soil again. You're too weak. A figure directly appeared in front of Ji Yufei. Of course, with Ji Yufei's current posture, he could only see the other party's feet. The spiritual will of Sacred Lord Void Sky was looking down at Ji Yufei, who was lying on the ground with dust all over his face. Ha ha, Ji Yufei suddenly laughed out loud. Has this fellow been beaten silly? Seeing that Ji Yufei was still in the mood to laugh, the snow demon's true body in the distance couldn't help but be stunned. You can still laugh at this time? The Wuji fire spirit turned into a figure surrounded by flames and appeared beside Ji Yufei. If it wasn't for the spiritual will of Sacred Lord Void Sky, this fellow couldn't wait to step forward and trample on Ji Yufei. Don't force me to use my ultimate move. Ji Yufei gritted his teeth and said. What? Haha, you still have an ultimate move. The Wuji fire spirit was overjoyed to see Ji Yufei in such a sorry state. Didn't you have a good time just now? Let's see how you do it now. Haha. The Wuji fire spirit laughed loudly. Bam! With a scream, the Wuji fire spirit was directly smashed in the face by a fist. Then, the Wuji fire spirit was directly sent flying. Your 5 elements are asking for a beating. Chapter 5387. The limitless fire spirit didn't expect Ji Yufei to be able to jump up from the ground and send it flying with one punch. How is this possible? The limitless fire spirit screamed as it was sent flying by Ji Yufei. Seeing this, even Sacred Lord Void Sky's divine will clone was stunned. This guy still had the strength to send the limitless fire spirit flying after being punched twice. The boundless fire spirit was a true infinity-level life form. Moreover, the boundless fire spirit did not have a physical body. It was just a fire spirit. Even so, Ji Yufei still managed to send it flying with a single punch. Ji Yufei's punch almost shattered the limitless fire spirit's human figure, which shocked the limitless fire spirit to the extreme. The snow demon true body in the distance was also stunned when it saw Ji Yufei suddenly explode and send the limitless fire spirit flying with one punch. This Ji Yufei was too strong. Damn, Sacred Lord Void Sky's divine will clone sent another punch towards Ji Yufei. Without any suspense, Ji Yufei was sent flying by Sacred Lord Void Sky's divine will clone once again. There was no other way. With Ji Yufei's current cultivation and battle power, it was impossible for him to dodge this punch from Sacred Lord Void Sky's divine sense. Breaking this punch from Sacred Lord Void Sky's divine sense required absolute power. Only absolute power could break through the restrictions of space and time. With Ji Yufei's current battle power, it was difficult to do so. Therefore, in front of Sacred Lord Void Sky's divine will clone, he could only be abused. Ji Yufei was very clear about this, so it wasn't impossible for him to turn the tables. Boom! Ji Yufei was sent flying by Sacred Lord Void Sky's divine will clone for another 100 miles. He rolled on the ground for another dozen miles before lying on the ground with his face covered in dust. Preposterous. Ji Yufei was depressed. This guy's punch landed on the same spot on his chest. Ever since he stepped onto the path of cultivation, He had never been in such a pathetic state before. After arriving at the Void Realm, he rose even more powerfully, pushing his way through, fighting against the barbarian sovereign, taking in Yuziana, and contending against Ling Tian Palace Master. How glorious was this! But now, he was actually tortured so miserably by someone else's divine will incarnation. This almost drove Ji Yufei crazy. What, you still want to resist? Sacred Lord Void Sky's spiritual force arrogantly looked down at Ji Yufei, who was lying on the ground. Don't force me to use my ultimate move. Ji Yufei gritted his teeth and said. TSK, if you have any ultimate moves, just use them. Sacred Lord Void Sky's divine sense clone said proudly. Does this guy really have a trump card? The limitless fire spirit rushed back, but he didn't dare to get close to Ji Yufei. Just now, Ji Yufei's punch had almost destroyed his soul. Even the snow demon True Body, who had been watching the show from afar, was very curious. She also wanted to see what other ultimate moves Ji Yufei had not used. When she saw Ji Yufei being tortured so miserably by Sacred Lord Void Sky's clone, she was extremely shocked. After all, Ji Yufei was a true boundless realm existence. The snow demon True Body had a certain understanding of Ji Yufei's cultivation and battle prowess. The snow demon True Body still didn't intend to make a move. Just now, she had very despicably escaped and let Ji Yufei face Sacred Lord Void Sky's divine will incarnation alone. All right, as you wish. Ji Yufei said word by word as he slowly stood up from the ground. Hihi, it's just a struggle before death. Do you think you are stronger than Master? The limitless fire spirit said gloatingly. Immortal slaying finger. The aura on Ji Yufei's body suddenly surged. In the next moment, he pointed out with his finger. An immortal finger light shot out from the tip of his finger and instantly pierced the limitless fire spirit's body. The limitless fire spirit's shock was no small matter. He couldn't dodge Ji Yufei's finger at all, and a large hole was directly pierced through his chest. Damn it! The limitless fire spirit's figure became blurry. It was obvious that he had been injured by Ji Yufei's finger. You can still maintain your form? Ji Yufei was a little surprised. This guy was also very powerful. Even Ji Yufei looked at the limitless fire spirit in a different light. Sky Ascension secret technique. Ji Yufei roared, and a shocking aura erupted from his body. In an instant, the essence chi on his body soared to the limit and then broke through the limit. Boom! Violent energy spread from Ji Yufei's body. The area within a 100-mile radius around him suddenly became filled with sand and dust. The sun and moon lost their light. It was extremely terrifying. This is, Sacred Lord Void Sky's divine will clone couldn't help but change his expression when he sensed the energy coming from Ji Yufei's body. Was this guy's trump card? Ji Yufei's strength had multiplied, which surprised Sacred Lord Void Sky's divine will clone. He was a super old antique, but even he had never seen such a mystic art before. This was because it was very difficult to increase the combat power of an infinite prime. Even Sacred Lord Void Sky's divine will clone couldn't do it. Die! Ji Yufei roared in anger and punched toward Sacred Lord Void Sky's divine will incarnation, and a powerful force exploded. Me. Sacred Lord Void Sky's divine will clone sneered and also punched. The moment Sacred Lord Void Sky's divine will clone punched, Ji Yufei's movements became slow again. Break for me! Ji Yufei roared. In the next instant, an even stronger fist force exploded from Ji Yufei's right fist. His slow movements suddenly disappeared. Bang! With a muffled sound, Ji Yufei's fist landed on Sacred Lord Void Sky's divine will clone's chest. What? Sacred Lord Void Sky's divine will clone's eyes widened as he stared at the fist in front of his chest in disbelief. The everlasting fire spirit was also stunned by this scene. The snow demon True Body's jaw dropped in shock. Ji Yufei had actually hit Sacred Lord Void Sky's divine will clone? How was this possible? At this moment, Ji Yufei's fist force exploded. In the next instant, Sacred Lord Void Sky's divine will clone was sent flying hundreds of miles away. Sacred Lord Void Sky's divine will incarnation fell to the ground, rolled on the ground, and stumbled for a dozen miles. Everything in its path was smashed into pieces. This was really a reversal of fortune. He had just sent Jiu Fei flying, but now, he was sent flying by Jiu Fei. He was in a sorry state. Seeing this scene, everyone was flabbergasted. No one had expected Jiu Fei's punch to be so powerful. It was actually able to put the divine will embodiment of Sacred Master Void Sky into such a sorry state. This is Jiu Fei's trump card? The snow demon True Body's heart shook. At this moment, she realized that she had still underestimated Jiu Fei. Jiu Fei's Heaven Ascension mystic technique was a supreme mystic technique of the immortal Tao. At this moment, his cultivation had already broken through his limit. Even Sacred Lord Void Sky's divine will clone couldn't block Jiu Fei's fist. Chapter 5388. In the eyes of Sacred Lord Void Sky's divine will incarnation, Jiu Fei and the snow demon True Body were just ants. However, he was sent flying by an ant with one punch. This made him furious. Boom. Boom. The void of Sacred Lord Void Sky's divine will incarnation was shaking violently. The essence chi of the entire small world was gathering toward him. He was using the power of the entire small world for his own use. An extremely terrifying wave of energy exploded from his body. One after another, ancient and mysterious Tao patterns appeared on his body and circled around him. Little fella, angering me won't do you any good. Sacred Lord Void Sky's divine will incarnation said indifferently. Jiu Fei directly pointed his middle finger at Sacred Lord Void Sky's divine will incarnation. This fella is simply courting death. The limitless fire spirit saw that Jiu Fei actually dared to point his middle finger at Sacred Lord Void Sky. No one had ever dared to do this in the past. Jiu Fei, in the sky, the snow demon True Body stared at Jiu Fei and Sacred Lord Void Sky's divine will incarnation and clenched his fists. The snow demon True Body didn't think that Jiu Fei would win. Again, Jiu Fei roared and punched at Sacred Lord Void Sky's divine will incarnation again. The violent fist force exploded, and the sky changed color. Sacred Master Void Sky's spiritual force incarnation also punched out. When he punched out, the void in front of him immediately froze. Jiu Fei's punch actually slowed down. What? He couldn't break this fella's move even after using the Heaven Ascension secret technique? The space-time around Jiu Fei was controlled by Sacred Lord Void Sky's divine will incarnation again. Sacred Lord Void Sky's divine will incarnation had the upper hand again. Extreme break, Jiu Fei had no choice but to use his trump card. The power of extreme break exploded from his fist and directly broke the fist force of Sacred Lord Void Sky's divine will incarnation. Bam! Without any suspense, Jiu Fei's fist landed on the chest of Sacred Lord Void Sky's spiritual force clone. Damn it! Sacred Lord Void Sky's divine will incarnation was extremely depressed. He couldn't control his body and was sent flying for another 100 miles. Then, he rolled on the ground for a few dozen miles before lying on the ground again. How is this possible? This time, the everlasting fire spirit and the snow yarrow True Body were both stunned. If luck was the reason why Jiu Fei had sent Sacred Lord Void Sky's divine sense clone flying, then this second punch wasn't luck at all. Sacred Lord Void Sky's divine will incarnation was a complete replica of what Jiu Fei had just done. It had been beaten into a sorry state by Jiu Fei. One hand refining the heavens. Sacred Lord Void Sky's spiritual will clone stood up from the ground and reached out with his right hand. In the next instant, the entire small world seemed to be grabbed by his hand. Great Heaven world-destroying palm, Jiu Fei used the palm technique that he had obtained from the Great Heaven Emperor. The power of the world-destroying palm erupted from Jiu Fei's right palm. The void trembled, and countless pitch-black spatial cracks appeared. Boom! The two palms instantly collided. In the next instant, two unimaginably powerful palms exploded. Jiu Fei only felt an unstoppable force coming from his opponent's hand, causing him to fly backward involuntarily. He had also used the extreme braking power in this palm strike, but even so, he still couldn't gain any advantage over his opponent. However, Sacred Lord Void Sky's divine will clone wasn't able to gain any advantage either. It was also sent flying by Jiu Fei's palm strength. This was unbelievable to him. This fellow was actually able to fight evenly with him. Sacred Lord Void Sky's divine will clone couldn't accept such an outcome. He was an invincible supreme sacred lord. No one had ever been able to put him in such a difficult position. Sacred Lord Void Sky was definitely an extremely powerful existence. Even in the limitless realm, he was a supreme existence. Who would dare to be impudent in front of him? The two palms collided and tangled together, turning into a destructive force that swept out in all directions. Everything in its path was destroyed. With the two of them at the center, the ground shattered and dust rose into the sky. Mountains were directly turned into dust by this mighty force and dissipated in the void. The entire small world was affected, and it seemed like it was about to collapse. This apocalyptic scene was shocking to the extreme. The snow demon's true body directly retreated into the distance to avoid it. The limitless fire spirit immediately fled into the fire god palace. The destructive force arrived, and the fire god palace was like a lonely boat in the raging sea. It was directly swept away. The limitless fire spirit hiding in the fire god palace was extremely terrified. The fire divine palace was directly swept away by the energy storm to who knows where, completely disappearing without a trace. Again, Gu Fei roared and attacked. It was the Great Sky World Annihilation palm again. The power of the Great Sky World Annihilation was mighty and shook the earth. If this small world wasn't protected by the formation set up by Sacred Lord Void Sky's true body, who knew how many times it would have been destroyed? Boom! Another earth-shattering sound was heard. The entire world shook violently, and countless spatial cracks appeared in the world. The power of the formation protecting the small world was rapidly weakening. This was not a good thing for everyone in the small world. Because once this small world collapsed, everyone would be affected. No one could escape. Of course, with the cultivation of Gu Fei and the snow demon true body, even if the world collapsed, they still wouldn't die. However, being trapped in the chaotic void and unable to come out was also a very terrifying thing. At this time, Gu Fei used his full strength. The Ascension secret technique and the power of breaking through the limit caused his battle power to soar to a level that even he himself was afraid of. However, Gu Fei was very clear that his battle power couldn't last long. Once the time was up, he would be beaten back to his original form. Once he was beaten back to his original form, he would be unlucky. Therefore, Gu Fei wanted to get rid of this divine will incarnation of Sacred Lord Void Sky within a limited time. I'll play with you. Sacred Lord Void Sky's incarnation of divine will also became ruthless and continuously clashed with Gu Fei. Unimaginably violent power kept exploding and destroying everything. These two guys, Snow Demon's true body stared at this scene and was shocked to the extreme. This level of power was not something she could contend with. When Gu Fei went crazy, it was really terrifying. This guy hid his strength too deeply. Perhaps only Sacred Lord Void Sky's incarnation of divine will could force Gu Fei to use his true strength. Snow Demon's true body actually didn't know that Gu Fei had used almost all of his trump cards. He had even used all of his trump cards. However, even so, Gu Fei was barely able to fight on par with Sacred Lord Void Sky's incarnation of divine will. Gu Fei was a little anxious. This couldn't go on. Once the time of the Ascension secret technique was up, he would immediately be beaten back to his original form. It seemed like he only had one choice. Chapter 5389. Gu Fei and Sacred Lord Void Sky's clone were evenly matched. The everlasting fire spirit and the snow demon true body were both shocked by this scene. However, only Gu Fei knew his own situation. He was only able to fight against Sacred Lord Void Sky's divine will clone by relying on the Ascension secret technique and the extreme breaking power. Sacred Lord Void Sky's divine will clone punched out again. This fellow had used the power of the entire small heaven and earth. The power of his punch was much stronger than before. When he punched out, space and time were under his control in an instant. Gu Fei couldn't dodge Sacred Lord Void Sky's divine will clone at all. This was because the fist technique of Sacred Lord Void Sky's divine will clone was simply too heaven-defying. In front of Sacred Lord Void Sky's divine will clone's fist, Ji Yufei's entire body became slow. What could he do? Break for me. Ji Yufei had no choice but to activate the extreme breaking power with all his might, causing his fist force to instantly break through his own limits. Then, his slowed-down movements returned to their original speed. However, he was still half a step too slow. Bam! Sacred Lord Void Sky's Divine Will Clone's fist landed squarely on Ji Yufei's chest. This made Ji Yufei really depressed. Why did this fellow only attack one position? Without any suspense, Ji Yufei was sent flying by Sacred Lord Void Sky's Divine Will Clone again. He had no choice. His opponent's fist technique directly controlled the space and time around him. Moreover, the power of the entire small heaven and earth was being used by this fellow. This was Sacred Lord Void Sky's method of increasing his combat strength. Although it was simple and direct, it was very useful. Even Ji Yufei knew how to use the power of heaven and earth. However, there was probably no one in history who could cultivate this mystic art to Sacred Lord Void Sky's level. The fist technique created by Sacred Lord Void Sky was simply invincible. This fist technique displayed the power of time, space, and heaven and earth to the extreme. It was not impossible to break through the laws of time and space, and the method was very simple. However, knowing the method was one thing, being able to do it was another thing. At this moment, Ji Yufei was sent flying another 100 miles by Sacred Master Void Sky's Divine Sense incarnation. He rolled on the ground for another dozen or so miles before finally lying on the ground with his face covered in dirt. It had been a long time since he had been beaten so badly, especially in the Void Realm. Ever since Ji Yufei had come to the Void Realm, he had never been in such a sorry state. Even when Limitless Demon had appeared, he had only retreated. Even the Limitless Demon King wouldn't be able to put him in such a difficult position, but now, Sacred Master Shu Tian's Divine Will incarnation was so strong. Just one incarnation was enough to put him in such a sorry state. Although he had an extremely strong martial body, he was still being abused. It was hard to imagine just how powerful Sacred Master Void Sky's main body was. Just one incarnation was enough to beat Ji Yufei, who was a true infinite power. One had to know that Ji Yufei wasn't an ordinary infinite power expert. He was a martialist who had defied the heavens and achieved the infinite Tao fruit. Martialists were inherently stronger than other cultivators of the same level. So what if you have a secret technique to increase your combat strength? You are still no match for me. Sacred Master Void Sky's Divine Will incarnation took a step forward and instantly appeared in front of Ji Yufei. It then looked down at him with disdain. In this place, he was the master. Everything here was created by him, so he could use the power here as he pleased. Even a true infinite power would have to lower their head in this place. No one had ever been able to defeat Sacred Master Void Sky in his territory, and no one had ever been able to not lower their head in his territory. In the eyes of Sacred Master Void Sky's Divine Will incarnation, all living beings that entered this place would only have one fate, their life and death. Damn it, your power is this world. At this moment, Ji Yufei also saw the problem. It seemed like he had underestimated this fellow. This fellow had fused himself with this world, and all the power in this small world belonged to this fellow. This was a powerful force left behind by the true Sacred Master Void Sky. His battle with Sacred Master Void Sky's Divine Will incarnation was no different from Sacred Master Void Sky's true body. How could he possibly defeat Sacred Master Void Sky's true body? Sacred Master Void Sky's Divine Will incarnation was definitely the strongest opponent that Ji Yufei had ever encountered in his life. This is bad. The Snow Demon's true body couldn't help but feel nervous when she saw this scene. She didn't want to become someone's prisoner or slave. However, Sacred Master Void Sky's Divine Will incarnation was so powerful that even if she teamed up with Ji Yufei, they probably wouldn't be able to change anything. However, there was no time for the Snow Demon's true body to think too much. She could either fight to the death or submit to this fellow. However, it was impossible for the Snow Demon's true body to submit. She could only fight. Boom. In the next moment, a shocking force erupted from the Snow Demon's true body, and the temperature of the entire small world plummeted. An extremely cold aura instantly spread out and shrouded the entire small world. The entire small world seemed to be frozen. Ice and snow appeared everywhere, and the entire small world suddenly became a world of ice and snow. Hihi, you finally can't help but make a move. The Wuji divine flame in the distance said sarcastically when it saw this scene. So what if you make a move? How can a small firefly compete with Master's divine sun in the sky? The Wuji divine flame sneered. Shut up. The snow demon's true body was enraged, and it roared at the Wuji divine flame. TSK, I won't shut up. What can you do to me? The Wuji divine flame wasn't afraid of the snow demon's true body at all. This was because it now had its Master's divine will incarnation as its backer. This backer was stronger than anyone else. With such a powerful backer, who would the Wuji divine flame be afraid of? At this moment, Ji Fei slowly stood up from the ground, and an unprecedentedly powerful wave of essence chi erupted from his body. Ayo, I didn't expect you to have a backup plan. The divine will incarnation of Sacred Master Void Sky was very surprised. Ji Fei's combat strength still had room for improvement, and he couldn't help but be moved. Almost at the same time, Ji Fei and the snow demon's true body disappeared on the spot. Boom! With a loud sound, Ji Fei and the snow demon's true body appeared on the left and right of the divine will incarnation of Sacred Master Void Sky. The divine will incarnation of Sacred Master Void Sky stretched out its hands and actually blocked the fists of Ji Fei and the snow demon's true body. Roar! The divine will incarnation of Sacred Master Void Sky let out a roar. His body shook violently, and he exerted force with his hands. Ji Fei and the snow demon's true body couldn't help but take a dozen steps back. Not only did he block the combined attack of Ji Fei and the snow demon's true body with his own strength, but he also forced them back. This combat strength shocked Ji Fei and the snow demon's true body. Chapter 5390. The snow demon true body finally couldn't help but make a move. If Ji Fei was defeated by Sacred Master Void Sky's spiritual will clone, she would be next. Therefore, she had to team up with Ji Fei even if she didn't want to. The three silhouettes were moving quickly within the pocket dimension. They were extremely fast, and the power that erupted from each silhouette shook the entire pocket dimension. In the void of the small world, hideous and terrifying spatial cracks appeared one after another. So what if the two of you team up? Sacred Master Void Sky's spiritual will clone laughed coldly as she attacked. Countless palm shadows appeared in the void, and shocking collisions sounded continuously. The void exploded, and destructive power spread out. The entire small world seemed like it was going to collapse. Ji Fei didn't say anything. He punched out again and again. The powerful fist force exploded, and the five elemental fist force intertwined. His fist force soared to the limit. The snow demon true body was shrouded in cold air. Her jade-like hand slapped towards Sacred Lord Void Sky's spiritual sense incarnation. Sacred Lord Void Sky's spiritual sense incarnation couldn't dodge in time, and both his legs were frozen. Sacred Master Void Sky's spiritual will clone laughed coldly. Then, a powerful force exploded from his body and directly shattered the ice on his legs. However, Ji Fei's fist had already smashed into his back. Bam! Sacred Master Void Sky's spiritual will clone was directly blown away by Ji Fei's punch. Damn it! Sacred Master Void Sky's spiritual will clone landed on the ground, causing dust to fly everywhere. You are only SOSO. Ji Fei pointed his middle finger at Sacred Master Void Sky's spiritual will clone. Swish! In the next moment, Sacred Master Void Sky's spiritual will clone suddenly appeared in front of Ji Fei and sent Ji Fei flying with a punch. You dare to look down on me? No one has ever dared to look down on me. Sacred Master Void Sky's spiritual will clone was filled with killing intent. Ice seal. At this moment, the snow demon true body descended from the sky. An extremely cold power descended from the sky and directly enveloped Sacred Master Void Sky's spiritual will clone. In just an instant, Sacred Lord Void Sky's spiritual force incarnation had turned into an ice sculpture. Kill. The snow demon's true body ruthlessly punched the ice sculpture. Boom. With a loud explosion, the ice sculpture formed by Sacred Lord Void Sky's spiritual sense exploded. Did you kill him? Ji Fei rushed over from the distance. Seeing this scene, he couldn't help being shocked. This snow demon's true form was extremely powerful. Its extreme cold energy could practically freeze everything. Even Sacred Master Void Sky's divine will incarnation had been frozen by her. The snow demon true body destroyed the frozen Sacred Master Void Sky's divine sense incarnation with a single punch. This, the Wuji fire spirit, who saw this scene from afar, was almost scared out of his wits. If his master was defeated by these two fellows, he would also suffer. However, Ji Fei's expression suddenly turned solemn. Streams of purple qi rushed out from the ground and gathered together. In the next moment, a figure appeared in front of Ji Fei and the snow demon's true form. Ji Fei and the snow demon's true form both stared at this figure. "You guys still can't do it." Sacred Master Void Sky's divine will incarnation glanced at Ji Fei and the snow demon's true form and sneered. "You dare to say that I can't do it?" Enraged, Ji Fei charged forward once more. Rumble, the 5 elemental fist force exploded from Ji Fei's fist, shaking the heavens and earth. The snow demon's true form also attacked. A terrifying cold energy exploded from the hands of the snow demon's true form and froze everything. At this moment, the Wuji fire spirit had already hidden far away. Even an infinite power like it couldn't interfere in a battle of this level. Muffled collisions sounded continuously. Ji Fei and the snow demon's true form were continuously sent flying by Sacred Master Void Sky's divine will incarnation. However, they immediately attacked again. This battle was really satisfying. Ji Fei had used almost all of his trump cards, but he still couldn't defeat this fellow. The snow demon's true form was vast and mighty, and the surrounding void was shaking as if it couldn't contain his powerful martial body. Bam! Bam! Ji Fei's fist landed on the chest of Sacred Master Void Sky's divine will incarnation. However, at the same time, Sacred Master Void Sky's divine will incarnation's fist also landed on his body. The two figures were sent flying back at the same time. Swoosh! When Sacred Master Void Sky's divine will incarnation was sent flying, the snow demon's true form made its move. A layer of transparent ice appeared on Sacred Master Void Sky's divine will incarnation. He was sealed by the snow demon's true form again. Ji Fei took advantage of this opportunity to use one of the 9 secrets of the immortal Tao, the primordial spirit Tao sword secret technique. A moment later, a beam of primordial spirit light shot out from his forehead and turned into a sharp sword shadow. It instantly slashed at the divine will incarnation, which was sealed by Sacred Master Void Sky. The sword shadow directly penetrated the ice on Sacred Master Void Sky's divine will incarnation and pierced right through it. Boom! The ice on Sacred Master Void Sky's divine will incarnation instantly exploded. Sacred Master Void Sky's divine will incarnation actually became faint and illusory. Sacred Master Void Sky's divine will incarnation revealed a terrified expression for the first time. His aura actually became much weaker. Ji Fei's sword had finally injured this fellow. Again, when Ji Fei saw this, he immediately charged over from afar. A divine eye seemed to have appeared between his eyebrows. Rays of primordial spirit light shot out from between his eyebrows, turning into sword shadows that pierced through Sacred Master Shu Tian's divine will incarnation. The primordial spirit Tao sword secret technique, one of the 9 secrets of the immortal Tao, was the nemesis of all divine will incarnations and primordial spirit clones. As long as one was hit by this primordial spirit Tao sword, one's soul would definitely be destroyed. However, what shocked Ji Fei was that Sacred Master Void Sky's divine will incarnation actually wasn't destroyed after being hit by his sword. Only his figure became slightly illusory. What? Sacred Master Void Sky's divine will incarnation was shocked. How would he dare to let these sword lights get close to him? Sacred Master Void Sky's hand spun in front of him, and the primordial spirit sword lights that pierced through from all directions were all sucked in by a powerful devouring force in front of him. Countless primordial spirit sword lights gathered in front of Sacred Master Void Sky's body and turned into a ball of light. Sacred Master Void Sky's divine will incarnation revolved his hands and pushed the ball of light formed by the power of his primordial spirit toward Ji Fei. Ji Fei didn't dodge at all. He allowed the ball of light to hit his body. The instant the ball of light hit his body, it entered his body and was devoured by him. At this moment, light shot out of his eyes, and he attacked Sacred Master Void Sky's Divine Will Incarnation with all his might. Even Sacred Master Void Sky's Divine Will Incarnation was flustered by Ji Fei's fierce attack. Chapter 5391. The battle continued in Sacred Lord Void Sky's little world. The sword light that shot out from Ji Fei's forehead pierced through the void and lit up the sky. Sword chi flew everywhere, but Sacred Lord Void Sky's Spiritual Will clone was trying its best to dodge. It didn't dare to let the sword chi touch it because it had met its nemesis. Although the Spiritual Will clone left behind by Sacred Lord Void Sky was extremely strong, Ji Fei's secret technique specialized in restraining primordial spirits. As long as it was hit by Ji Fei's primordial spirit Dao Sword, even Sacred Lord Void Sky's Spiritual Will clone would be severely injured. If it was hit by Ji Fei's primordial spirit Dao Sword, Sacred Lord Void Sky's Spiritual Will clone would probably dissipate. Sacred Lord Void Sky's Spiritual Will clone was moving rapidly in the void. Countless afterimages of Sacred Lord Void Sky's Spiritual Will clone appeared in the void. Ji Fei's primordial spirit Dao Sword pierced through these afterimages, but it was unable to pierce through Sacred Lord Void Sky's Spiritual Will clone. While Ji Fei was attacking, the Snow Demon True Body wasn't idle either. Her cold aura permeated every nook and cranny. Even Sacred Lord Void Sky's Spiritual Will clone was covered in frost. At this time, the Snow Demon True Body was no longer able to freeze Sacred Lord Void Sky's Spiritual Will clone. However, Sacred Lord Void Sky's movement and speed were affected by the cold aura. Sacred Lord Void Sky's Spiritual Will clone was affected by the cold aura of the Snow Demon True Body and paused for a moment. Although it was only for a moment, it was enough. Swish! A primordial spirit sword light brushed past the left cheek of Sacred Lord Void Sky's Spiritual Will clone. A bloody mark immediately appeared on the left cheek of Sacred Lord Void Sky's Spiritual Will clone. Sacred Lord Void Sky's Spiritual Will clone was extremely shocked. He was a Spiritual Will clone and didn't have a physical body. However, his opponent was able to leave a wound on his body. This had never happened before. Spiritual Will clones couldn't be injured or bleed. However, Sacred Lord Void Sky's Spiritual Will clone was injured and bleeding. What kind of mystic art is this? Sacred Lord Void Sky's Spiritual Will clone was extremely shocked. Ji Fei's technique was simply too heaven-defying. It was able to make Sacred Lord Void Sky's Divine Sense incarnation feel pain. How was this possible? Take a guess. Ji Fei smiled. Primordial soul sword lights continued to shoot out from his glabella. These sword lights followed Sacred Master Shu Tian's Divine Will incarnation like a shadow. Sacred Lord Void Sky's Spiritual Force incarnation kept flashing in the void and dodged all the sword lights that pierced towards him. However, these sword lights didn't disappear. Instead, they flashed continuously in the void and attacked Sacred Lord Shu Tian's Divine Will clone from all directions. Ji Fei's primordial soul swordlight surrounded Sacred Lord Void Sky's Divine Will incarnation. All of his paths of retreat were sealed. You're still not dead this time? Ji Fei was going all out. Even with his cultivation, he was struggling to hold on. Moreover, the time limit for his Ascension secret technique was almost up. If Ji Fei couldn't get rid of Sacred Master Shu Tian's Divine Will embodiment within the time it took for the Ascension mystic technique to be executed, he and Shui Yarrow would be in deep trouble. Ice Seal. Shui Yarrow's true body didn't hold back at all. She attacked with all her might. An extremely cold force erupted from her hands and directly sealed the void around Sacred Master Shu Tian's primordial soul sword light. This way, Sacred Master Shu Tian's Divine Will incarnation would find it even harder to escape from Ji Fei's primordial soul sword light. Countless sword lights gathered and instantly minced Sacred Master Shu Tian's primordial soul sword light into countless pieces. What? The Wuji fire spirit, who saw this scene from afar, was shocked. The Divine Will incarnation left behind by its master was destroyed just like that. This is bad. The Wuji fire spirit wanted to escape. Even its master's divine will incarnation had been killed by these two fellows. How would it dare to stay here? Just as the Wuji fire spirit was about to escape, Ji Yufei suddenly looked up into the sky. High up in the sky, a cloud of qi had appeared out of nowhere. This cloud was surging rapidly. Very soon, a figure appeared in the sky. If this person wasn't Sacred Master Shu Tian's divine will incarnation, who else could it be? This is ridiculous. How is this possible? Ji Yufei was a little stunned. However, he could sense that Sacred Master Shu Tian's divine will incarnation was already very weak. What made Ji Yufei in disbelief was that Sacred Master Shu Tian's divine will incarnation was so strong. It had been slashed by his primordial soul swordlight countless times, but it still hadn't been destroyed. The divine will incarnation left behind by Sacred Master Shu Tian was really too strong. Before this, Ji Yufei had never seen such a strong divine will incarnation. Moreover, Ji Yufei didn't expect a divine will incarnation to be so strong. You want to kill me? Sacred Master Shu Tian's divine will incarnation sneered. Kill. The snow demon true body roared angrily and directly attacked Sacred Master Shu Tian's divine will incarnation. An extremely sharp and cold swordlight rushed out of her hands. Buzz. The sword hummed and the sky changed color. The snow demon true body's sword Dao cultivation was actually so strong. This was something that even Ji Yufei didn't expect. Why did stronger existences all like to cultivate the sword Dao? Ji Yufei also cultivated the sword Dao. However, the sword Dao was just one of the 9 great Daos that he cultivated. It wasn't considered much. However, the snow demon true body's sword Dao didn't seem to be weaker than the limitless sword master. If these two met, there would probably be a good show to watch. Ji Yufei thought about the limitless sword master that Yu Xian and the Ling Tian palace master had fused together. That was an infinite stage supreme sword master. However, this snow demon true body was also an infinite stage existence. You think you can kill me? Sacred Master Shu Tian's divine will incarnation punched out with her right hand. Boom. With a loud explosion, the snow demon true body's swordlight completely shattered in the void. The snow demon true body was sent flying, and a trace of blood seeped out of the corner of her mouth. So strong, only now did the snow demon true body realize how strong Sacred Master Shu Tian's divine will incarnation was. It seems like I have no choice but to use my true trump card. As Ji Yufei spoke, his entire body turned into an immortal swordlight. This swordlight erupted with an unprecedentedly strong wave of sword qi. Swish. The swordlight flashed by, and Sacred Master Shu Tian's divine will incarnation was directly split in half. A weak wave of divine will came from Sacred Master Shu Tian's divine will incarnation. Then, the divine will incarnation of Sacred Master Shu Tian, which had been split in half by Ji Yufei's sword, dissipated in the void and completely disappeared. Ji Yufei's figure appeared in the void. He staggered and almost fell from the sky. He had used all the power in his body to form a primordial soul Dao sword. This sword was also the strongest sword that Ji Yufei had executed after he cultivated the primordial soul Dao sword. Before this, Ji Yufei had never executed such a powerful sword.